more like the first name Alan, so the last name Allen kind of looks a little weird.
Right, my uncle, his name is Alan, so that probably has a big part to do with things. Well, we're live now, so we're getting in on the preamble. Got quite a bit of time on the preamble this one,
Oh
which
yeah.
I think is a good thing because I don't know if you're going to be mad at me on this one or not,
Uh-oh.
but let's find out, and let's keep the cuss words to a minimum for the opening of the show, so the algorithm helps us a little bit.
Oh. What have
Oh,
you
I
got for
know.
me now? First you
So,
warn me I might get mad, then you tell me keep the cursing to a minimum.
hey,
Oh
I was
boy, what do
about
you
to
got?
tell you, and you were like, "Oh, should we just go live?" And I'm like, "Well, okay."
Okay, all right.
So, one of my beta readers has been ranting about the book,
Nice.
and one of the people that they have been ranting to, their uncle is a published author, and they're talking to their uncle about pushing my book to their publishing company. So, when I say this has been a week, it's been kind of a week
Mm,
of this. That's not real. That's
right.
not.
Yeah.
That's not real. That's not a real thing. That's nah. I know like the Spaceballs connection.
Oh, right. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
my uncle's friends, roommates. Where'd you go? I didn't think I was gonna bother you that much so fast with that news. Give it a sec, guys. Doc will be right back on. I hope. Okay.
That wasn't me. I don't know what happened there.
I have no idea. We've had a windstorm kind of busting things down over here, even though you cannot see it. Uh,
Okay.
about this time, it calms down every night here,
Okay.
which is kind
See,
of
I was a
nice.
little worried. I'm trying out some new tech tonight, so I was a little worried that might have something to do with it, but
Your
I'm pretty
video
sure it's not.
quality does look nicer than it previously did. So does your lights a lot softer too.
Yep. Finish what
So
you were saying, and then I can get into the tech side.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So with the potential of that, I have also had the book cover being worked on and not going well. I gotta say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, finding an artist to actually do that I can afford, tough, tough,
That
tough,
is tough. Yeah.
tough. But
What is your budget? Let me ask you real quick. What's your budget on your book cover?
how close to free do you think is legitimate? I'm not like I we've dumped
I'll send you a link.
oh nice. We
Yeah.
dumped everything into this move. So as I'm getting the book cover made, it's kind of looking like I dumped $100 just to get like a proof of concept.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, it was only $100, and like, yeah, you some of these people you pay them quite a bit of money
Oh, for sure. And it's absolutely worth it most of the time. But
most of the time. This was one of
yeah.
those things that it was like, for this much money, you can get 5 revisions. And I was like, great, let's get into it. We started going through it, and it took all the way up. I just got what I originally wanted. I just saw it for the first time. The artist is like, because I had to do so many revisions, do you think we could do another payment? And I was like, no. You get to what the art, like what the person paid for first. Then
Yeah.
they have some revisions to where once they see what they asked for, then they can ask for something different. It took a long time just to see the thing that I originally wanted. And now I'm sitting here going like I burned through all my revisions, so I don't feel like I can ask for any more. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I didn't get what I paid for.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, holy
Yep.
crap, how often does that happen?
I mean, it really depends. That's the thing, and it's hard to say. It's that old Venn diagram everyone always talks about. There's you got one circle which is does good quality work. The second circle is easy to work with, and the third circle is gets shit done on time. Okay, and they say you can pick two. You
Huh.
can pick two of whichever two are most important to you. That's what you can have. All three does never fucking happens.
The more I think about what you just said, the more it's just true. Every artist that I have worked with, every time I've gone through, if I'm getting really, really good work and all this stuff, most of the time I have to wait like 3, 4 times longer than what they originally said. And
Yep.
they ask me for more money, which is what's happening right now, except I don't know what the end quality is going to be. Weirdly, though, hey, Red Dog. Weirdly, though, hey, MPWR, my power. That's what I want to call that.
I hope that's what it means.
More power? I don't know. But, no, just getting things done, pushing the book forward. I don't know. I don't know how far I am before actually publishing, if I'm going to do the self-publishing thing or if I'm going to push it to the publishers.
Sure.
But the other thing to kind of celebrate a little bit, before we went live today, I was writing chapter 8 of the second book.
Oh, okay.
This one's hard.
That's the one that makes me more angry right now.
Well,
I want to be happy for you. I really, really do. I'm trying my best to be happy for you. But, you know.
I found out my power is someone's favorite Fortnite clan.
Oh, okay.
I never got into Fortnite. I
Me either.
basically if it's not from From Software, I haven't. Like, those games are just way too amazing. I go way full bore into them, and by the time I've actually completed them, I'm like, okay, I'm never playing a video game again. What just happened to the last month of my life?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys. It's a fault.
Yeah, I know. And I've heard all about Fortnite. I've seen people play it. I've never played it because, and I realize that this is a character flaw. I realize this is all me. I don't take this out on anybody else. I absolutely hate playing video games with other people, either online, in person. For me, playing video games is a wholly solitary act. I do not do it with anyone else. I don't even like people watching me play a video game when like when I had roommates or a girlfriend. Like, I had a girlfriend who literally was like, "Oh, can I watch you play the game?" And I was like, "No, go home."
A lot of people would love for that to be the case.
I get that. Yeah. No, most like that. I was living the dream at that moment, and I rejected it. I get that. Notice I'm single now. So,
Well, there is that.
yeah.
No, that's pretty much been, well, okay, so book 2 being that far in on writing that one, I told you before. I have been fighting writing that story for over a year now.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yep.
Like, that's kind of one of those things. I did not want to write it. I thought it's way too extreme. It should be done by a particular kind of person that is not me. And I tried to pass it off to other writers, but nobody would take it. So
Yep.
I felt like the story had to be told. So in the end, here I am. But yeah, like when you sat there, kind of like Don't Think of the Color Red. Like when you sit there like, I'm not going to write the story. I don't want to write the story. And then you sit back and you just keep coming up with the story. It just won't stop. This is a one-time thing. There's never
Right, no,
another story I'm writing like this.
Imagine that, only it's literally everything in your life all the time, and that's ADHD.
What do you mean?
No matter what you're doing, you're thinking about something else and can't concentrate on the thing you're doing. And so you go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go do the thing I'm thinking about instead. And now that you're doing that, you can't think of that anymore. You're thinking of something else now. Like
somebody sent me a clip of Bryan Cranston and I think Malcolm in the Middle, and it was like the perfect representation of ADHD. And I watched it and I went, "That's my wife." Yes, I see this. I know this. I walk around the house collecting dishes nonstop because it's like, ooh, there's a tea here. There's a tea here. There's a tea. Like,
yep.
No, it doesn't sound fun. I'll give you that.
Yep.
Well, what was your week like? Because you said you were dealing with some tech issues. By the way, give us about 20 minutes and we're going to go live with the actual show.
Oh right, yeah. Not tech issues. I finally got my new desk. Um, I was not ready to buy it yet, but the one I had my eye on was on sale, and so I decided to take a chance at maybe not being able to pay my bills next month and get it, at a discount.
Ooh.
So I'm going to be putting in some extra hours this weekend. But I got it. It's great, and I got the real estate I wanted. So now I got the lights where I want them, and I got the camera where I want it to be. I am now realizing I got this blank space here that I did not realize was going to be there, and so I got
I
to put
full
something
on
here now.
thought you had a walker. I was about to ask you like if
That
you
is
got
a
injured
shelf.
this week. But you realize when I'm looking over your shoulder that looks like a
now,
walker.
now that you've said it, now I see it. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah,
But
it's coming along.
yeah. No, the same camera as before. What it is remember how I said I was doing, NVIDIA came out with like a broadcast software thing that I've been doing my audio through.
Yeah.
I'm doing my video through it now too. And apparently it can handle my lighting situation way better than Streamlabs can. So here I
Nice.
am. I've made almost next to no adjustments other than putting it through NVIDIA first. So that's probably where a little bit of this extra delay we mentioned before is coming from is that. But you know, yeah. So that's why I look so fucking good right now.
Look at sharp.
Mhm.
Which, yeah, finally my hair got long enough that I don't have to keep putting that pomade in it just to keep it back.
Yep.
So that's a good day.
Yep.
That is a vain ass thing to celebrate, but that's a good day.
And I gotta say, and this is gonna come up, by the way, Brad. Every time, every time you wear that sweater, I'm going to tell you, you look like Captain Haddock from the Adventures of Tintin, and I'm gonna keep telling you that until you finally sit down and watch the Adventures of Tintin, so you see who I'm talking about.
That is fair. I don't know how I never saw that, and yeah, I've gotten that. Yeah, fair enough. I'm just glad that I have a small break from being Ellis. Just a small.
Yeah.
Again, man, I was thinking about that actually yesterday or today. I don't know. So Doc and I were at the premiere for The Activated Man, and one of the people, when we were doing like some street interviews, he came up and he was like, "You know who you look like?" And I have been used to very particular things for a long, long time. Because of
Mm.
my like giant smile, I've gotten Tom Cruise from time to time. Because of my very thick eyebrows, I've gotten Colin Farrell. Just because dark-haired Irish people, that's just who we all look like.
Yeah.
This dude said I look like Ellis from Die Hard. The coke addict that everybody was super happy that he died
Yeah.
in Die Hard. Like, come
Yeah, the one
on.
character who got killed and we were all happy about. Yeah.
Well, MPWR, if you're heading over to stream, good luck tonight. We'll catch you next time. The next time we'll have you on, or maybe we'll have you on our channel streaming with us sometime. That is one of the things that they say, try to get people from other channels, cross promotions, doing this thing.
No,
Uh,
that's true. I would check to make sure, before we make a promise like that, maybe check to make sure that they're not, a Nazi. No, I'm sure they're not. I'm sure they're not. Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
but
Well, there
it's
was a
one of those
time that we
things.
could be sure that they're not, but
That's the
that
thing is like that.
certainty has gotten lower.
That's the thing is like that's not a problem we had not that long ago. Now we got to really watch out for it.
No, it's like that one episode of Rick and Morty where they're like, Nazis? That's an everywhere problem. That's an exaggeration. No, it's I
Mm.
didn't. But we keep saying that we're gonna do this thing that we try to focus away from the craziness that's going on, but we keep just talking about it. At some point, we probably should just talk about it.
I mean, yeah, sure, but
Holy
it's like
crap! Oh my god, something came up, and we don't have to talk about it, but it was a wildly interesting thing that just the question I feel is kind of an important one, and I was wondering if, because I know that you have a much different background than I do, the kinds
mm,
of people that you've been around. Somebody sent me something where trans women or trans men are like being proposed to go to male prisons, And my mind shattered on that. And I went, whoa. Hard stop for where a lot of that argument makes sense. Like, that's
What
like, 'cause,
I
like, is that a fight that you want them to win? Like, that's, whoa.
what I heard was that it was the other way around. That currently, if you are trans, you go to the prison and you end up in prison. You go to the prison of the gender that you were assigned, and that there is currently a move in the administration to switch that to basically
Is
send
that,
trans women to men's prisons. Is what I
well,
heard.
that's kind of what that's kind of what I was like a little bit curious because I didn't even look into it. I was like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
really want my mind all the way here because this
Mm-hmm.
was sent to me earlier today. And I was like,
Right. Okay.
that's a really interesting question. I'm going to look into that later, but yeah, that kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. And because we're doing the vamping before the show, I just kind of figured
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
stuff like that, get some of those questions out.
I'm glad by chance it was something I had actually heard about.
Mm.
Not looked into it either. I just happened to hear about it. But yeah, but that's what I heard is that apparently the administration's currently trying to reverse it and force trans people to go to the prison of their assigned at birth gender, which would be an absolute nightmare, I think, for all involved.
Well, I mean, it's the prison system, so I mean, there's really no happy ending there. Like, it's just
Mm-hmm.
when you want to be treated treated as the gender that you are assigned to. In all reality, oh my god, I think any trans man is really losing the battle on that one. That does not seem like the kind of place that I mean, it's not like I know anything about women prisons. I've never been to prison. I've never been to jail.
Mm.
Like, I acted a fool until I was 18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when the consequence got a lot worse, I stopped acting like that. Drag racing, driving drunk, like bridge jump. I mean, it's not like I ever like really did like hard crimes and stuff like that. It was just
Sure.
really stupid stuff. Going and jumping off a bridge at 3 o'clock in the morning and pissing off a bunch of the neighborhood. Inconvenient.
Sure.
But yeah, I cut doing stuff like that when I turned 18.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But of course, at that point, I could just drive a little bit further away and go jump off a cliff.
Yeah, well, me and my friends were, we were there was about between 6 and 8 of us, depending on the night, and we basically would just go on petty thievery crime sprees. Just, usually public property. We stole a lot of traffic cones. Holy shit.
Rite of passage. I swear to
Yeah.
God, every teen boy stole traffic cones.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
What is it about them? That's just a thing that has to happen.
I think it's
Is it
when
because
you're
they're
in
so
that.
bright and shiny and we're just animals?
No, I think it's because when you're at that age, when you feel the need to reject authority, a traffic cone is a signal of a position of authority that cannot back itself up, and so you subvert it immediately. You feel the need to just take all of your frustrations out of your parents, out of the cops, out of your teachers, every authority figure who's ever pissed you off. You victimize the traffic cone, the one authority figure that cannot defend itself.
Just sitting there all haughty and orange.
Yeah. You will go this direction on the road. Oh yeah? You in what army, motherfucker?
Almost 20 minutes in it before we dropped an F-bomb. The algorithm should work with us a little bit on that one. A little bit.
Okay, all right.
It's
Before you
kind-
know it, we'll be doing a 7-second delay so that you can bleep me. We'll get there, I'm sure.
I am not doing that. When the day comes, if the day comes that we actually have a producer and everything like that, and we got somebody off in another room pressing buttons and queuing stuff up for us, let's go. That's when I want to do that. Where like the F word is like a quack.
Right.
I'm sorry, man. I still think that would be. I've been trying to figure out of a good comical way to handle that, and I think that's the way I want to do it. Weirdly, hard to figure out. Okay, obviously, shit is a cow, so moo.
Sure. Yeah.
What is damn?
We have to censor damn too.
I just kind of
What
figured
is
it
this
was
country coming to?
it's a public platform. Still, you gotta play with the rules, but at the same time, um, and you can take this how you want to. But with a lot of the regulations being taken down and a lot of the like freedom of speech and just like a lot of the MAGA stuff and everything like that, being
Mhm.
tanked by the algorithm because of things like that isn't going to be a thing anymore. I mean, look, Meta just went and like kissed Trump's boots.
True. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that we actually have to continue worrying about.
Well, that's the interesting thing because they may actually do that. They may not. They may drop all regulation to stop us from talking to stop to. They stop the regulation on hate speech. Would still be able to be racist and vulgar and give death threats. But if I talk about titties, that's out. No, no, they will shut us down for titty talk. I am sure of it
Yeah.
because that's how they work, man. That's how these folks work.
I don't know. I just thought it was really funny when I found out that Pornhub is a Canadian company, and people were saying like, just go ahead and put some tariffs and shut down Pornhub and see how fast all this changes. And I'm like, sad how much power porn has, but I have no argument.
It's a it is a it shocks me that people don't like give it its due when we're talking when like the measurements in the billions of dollars already,
Yeah.
and it's still in the shadows. Um, I mean,
I don't
fuck.
think it's in the
I'm
shadows anymore. It's on
no,
every
no, no.
single
I
late
mean,
night program. Everybody like you have like TuneHub that like
right.
copies the graphic design of Pornhub. Like it's not okay. When I saw that
That's
it was on
awesome.
like my niece or my nephew's tablet, and I looked at that and I'm like, do you have the app on? Like I was about to lose my mind until I took a closer look and went, that says Tune. What?
That's that's called okay. You know what
That's
that is,
grooming.
man? That's that. Yeah, exactly. That is fucking grooming. That is getting the brand loyalty before they even know what their
That
brand
is no
loyalty is
different than
for.
candy cigarettes, my friend.
No, no, straight up the
Oh
same thing.
man, I miss jerky chew. Shredded
Mm.
jerky that would come in the, like the little chew cans.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember those.
God, that
Yeah,
was delicious. And I only chewed for like 3 years of my adulthood, so it didn't work on me too
I
much.
I miss jerky from the general '80s and '90s jerky to begin with. They don't do it like that anymore. They're not. It's
No,
not
man, you can't go
dehydrated
to the
anymore.
gas station and get stuff like that. You got to go out to like the country stores.
I've been to the country stores, man. Everything like everyone over marinades their jerky now. It's all soft and you still gotta like worry about putting it in the fridge after you open it and all that sort of stuff. No one makes truly dehydrated survival jerky anymore, at least not anywhere I can find.
Every year I go to North Dakota, no matter what garage I'm going to have a beer in, because it's
Mhm.
North Dakota, and that's what you do. The men are secluded to the garage with beer. Show me one man who's upset about it.
I wouldn't be for sure. Yeah,
No, it's nice.
yeah.
Um, but no, just out there eating jerky, drinking a beer. Like, no, I can't. Like, next time I go up there, when I go up there this year, I'll see if I can get a few extra pieces. I'll send you out a bag. Like,
Okay,
no, it
okay.
is either I don't know what you're talking about, or my guys are still doing it right.
That's fantastic. Glad to hear. Yeah. No, I've like on multiple occasions I've thought about buying one of those food dehydrators to make my own jerky just so I can get it the way I used to. Never get around to it though, like usual. Like everything in my fucking life, I never get around to it. Actually,
You know,
I
that's
did
something I
hear
wanted to
something.
kind of talk to you about.
Mhm.
Where you were saying like when you sit down at the computer to work and things like that, and then it just never happens. Like I know that I have said like I sit down at this computer, I sit down and I just work every single day.
Yep.
Does not matter. There are
Yep.
times that I'm
And I hate you for it.
like I will sit there for like a half hour just to say she said, and then I
Yeah.
will like delete it, and I'll like it doesn't matter if I'm like actually progressing the story or not. It's just being in the habit of being right here and like in this mode.
Yeah. Oh no, and I know what you're talking about. And yes, many people have talked about it before. They even talk about like the free writing idea, where it's like even if you're not actually doing, like even if you know you're just kind of writing, like there are some who even say I could sit if I sit down and I just write all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy over and over again for 2 hours, that technically counts. I can't even do that. I can't even do that. If I know that it's gonna be something I'm gonna delete later, I can't even do that. It's it's fucking weird. I know, but it's it's
Maybe
a it's
that's
a block.
why the show helps so much.
Hmm.
Just the act of putting down, like writing the notes and doing these things and just putting these things, just the act of typing these things together and doing all this stuff, maybe that has been helping me.
It's possible, for sure. Yeah.
I, whatever it is, I don't want to change it. That's kind of the thing. Uh, no, it's I got I got one person who is sending me a lot of notes, and they're starting to like piece all the Easter eggs that happened earlier in the book together, and they're like
Mm,
starting to message me on them and all this stuff. So at the at the most, the story works.
nice.
I
Good. 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 Good.
know, I know there are sections that need improvement, but that's that thing that you were talking like that everybody's been talking about. Can't let perfect get in the way of good.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah,
Sometimes done is good enough. Yeah.
I actually do think that even if this cover doesn't work out for a first edition, I might just put the fucking name on the thing and then just have a blank cover. Just who cares? Like, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. Like, if this is what I'm waiting on,
Right.
no.
Like I said, I will send you a link. I can help you there. You can. I mean, will it be a perfect cover? No, but you can get a cover for like $10. Okay. That will do the job. That will be okay. I will send you
Whoa.
some links. I will send you some links. There are companies that do literally like pre-made covers, and they're super cheap. And yeah, I know it's not perfect. It's not, but believe me when I say, even if it's not going to be great, it's 1,000 times better than nothing. Okay, it's 1,000 times better
Well,
than nothing. In fact,
that's
here
true.
I'll give you an example. When was like I don't know if I've shown you, but like I actually got a new cover for Modus Operandi, my first book. Have you seen it?
No,
Okay.
I don't
You
think so. Are you
you
gonna
want me to
show me?
send you a link or can you look up?
Oh yeah, no, send me a link.
Okay.
No, like, because I like this. I like this a lot. This screams to me. Blank
Hold on.
covers. Oh, let me know when you looked at the video.
Okay.
This screams to me. I love this in ways that I cannot describe. There's just nothing on this thing. It is completely blank. I love that. But yeah, I know that that is definitely not not the way that most people go about it. I get it. I just like that simplicity. The simplicity over the busy stuff. Doc, are you still looking up the one thing?
Hey, just give me a second here because I realized I was doing it on my computer instead of my phone, so I got to actually email it to you instead of texting it.
Is it just the Amazon link for Modus Operandi?
Yeah,
All right.
sent.
Well, you sent it to my email?
Yeah, I think. Shit. You got in my head about me taking forever. Now I got to. Who did I send that to?
Yeah, you sent it to
Okay,
me.
okay.
All right, let's see this new cover. Is it like the pink and purple-ish?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it always pink and purplish?
Nope. I just basically went through a catalog of pre-made covers and I went, that one looks kind of cyberpunky. So there it is.
What was the
That was
old
20
one?
bucks. What?
What was the old one?
The old one was complicated.
Fair enough. Complicated. All right.
Okay.
I
So
can see
now I'm
that.
looking. Now I'm looking at you again. What was it you wanted to show? What was the?
I love this.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. It screams confidence. It screams that there is something inside there that they just didn't want to give you even the tiniest hint about. Like, because that tells me every single thing about this story is too important to show on the cover.
Where did you get that book?
Used bookstore, so I'm imagining that there actually is a cover for it, and it's
Yeah.
just like that's
It just
what's
came off.
underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, completely.
Yeah.
But I don't care. Those are still the books I go towards. I will see cover after cover after cover, and then I will see one that has no cover, and I will be forced to go to that and open it up. And then, like, it's as soon as I open that first page, I'm invested.
Okay.
Like, it's
And that's
just,
perfectly fair. If that, that's what you want to do. Sure.
I want to sell some damn books. At first, I wanted to write a great story. I really feel like I accomplished that. At the very least, I wrote a story that a few people absolutely love.
Mm-hmm.
I got the greatest what? Yeah, whatever. This is kind of an advertisement. Like, there's a part of the book where one of my readers said, "This is like." I'm falling in love with this character at the same rate that these characters are falling in love with each other. And I didn't know that they was supposed to fall in love with this character until way many chapters later, until I realized I was already doing it. And I'm just sitting there going, cool.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Because every chapter, like, it serves a very particular aspect of what the character means, a piece of, like, every chapter has something. So I've been wondering whether there is something that I need to cut out or not. I know if I hire an actual fantasy writer or editor, it's going to cost me out the ass. But I mean, they're worth it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still say you ought to reach out to the person I gave you because, like I said, she does
I know that
discounts for
$3,000 to
indies.
$6,000.
Ass.
I know.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
All right, what do you say we get into it?
Let's do this.
All right. And all right, and 3, 2. Welcome to H.Y.S.T. I'm Bradley Hackworth, joined by Jonathan Ems, otherwise known as Doc.
Greetings, fellow humans.
And this week we are going to be covering The Rundown and Deconstructing Harry. I would say two fantastic comedies, but I'm going to say they're both comedies. One is just wildly hilarious, and the other one is like, I can't believe this is happening.
It's a very funny train wreck, is what it is.
There you go.
Yes. It is.
Yes.
It is the embodiment of the idea that tragedy plus time equals comedy. Because this movie is hilarious and it is 20 years old.
Oh yeah, it's kind of rough that we're not getting into that one first because, but there's going to be a lot of laughs to cover The Rundown.
Almost 30 years old, actually. Jesus.
You know
Christ,
what? There was a time I added the years onto these, and then I stopped. I need to go back and start and like do that again so I can keep the references alive.
Yeah.
All right, let's get going on.
Although there is one joke in Deconstructing Harry that was a President Clinton joke because President Clinton was in office at the time the movie came out, and hilariously the joke now applies again today.
Well, you want to wait until we get into that?
Sure, why not? Let me write it. Let me write it down my whiteboard here so I don't forget.
Fair enough. There was a joke that I got reminded of because Facebook memories,
Ah.
and it was there was a time I was absolutely hilarious on social media.
Oh yeah, me too. Some of my
Yeah,
best work was on Facebook.
I believe so as well.
Yeah.
I I had a memory pop up and it was uh, COVID isn't Trump's fault. Ebola wasn't Obama's fault. SARS wasn't Bush's fault. Only a handful of cases of herpes were Clinton's fault. And I
Fuck,
was
that's
funny,
good.
man. I was funny. I
Yeah.
was I was bored during COVID and I was funny.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
And then I had to add, and because I'm me, I had to screenshot the thing and then share it as a photo because I came up with another caption over the joke I said that said, "No need to share, it's already viral."
Oh, Jesus, dude.
I don't know what was in my coffee that morning, but man, I was crushing it. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Getting into it. Starting off tonight, The Rundown, written by R.J. Stewart, who also was a writer of Xena Warrior Princess, and James Vanderbilt, who wrote Zodiac and the Scream reboot. This movie, it's understandable to find out why this movie was awesome.
Yeah.
Those three things put together, Xena, Zodiac, and the new Scream and the new part of the Scream franchise, man, what a
See,
recipe.
I didn't even, yeah, I didn't even think about that. But since you pointed out, I'm thinking back. I'm like, oh, you can kind of see all those elements in there, and they're all there. You've got that sort of like weird Xena action in there combined with
Oh
all of
yeah.
that, Zodiac and kind of drama locked into it too. Like especially the when you're at the mine, when you're at the gold mine
Yeah.
with Christopher Walken and all that. Like he is the Zodiac killer, but with money.
Ooh. Love it. Directed by Peter Berg, Friday Night Lights, The Kingdom, and Hancock.
Mm.
One of these things is not like the other.
Hancock is surprisingly underrated. I found. I
I'm not
enjoyed
going to
that
say
movie.
it's not underrated. I'm going to say it doesn't make sense.
Okay, sure.
Just because.
Right.
A fantastic premise. I liked the idea, like the world building. So much of the world building was absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
And then you have this superpowered woman who doesn't want to reveal her identity, throwing a fridge through, or like chucking this dude through her home, flying out right after making this huge noise, and then getting into a battle and not directing it away from the city that her husband works in. That movie has epic plot holes.
Okay.
Fantastic
You
premise.
clearly have never gotten in a fight with your ex-wife before, so I'm just
Okay.
gonna let that
If that's
go.
the
I'm just
if
gonna
that's
let
the justification for that one, I just gotta move on. uh, Starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Sean William Scott, Rosario Dawson, and Christopher Walken, with Ewan Bremner, John Grease, William Lucking, and Ernie Reyes Jr. God, I love that guy. For the rundown of the rundown. In an attempt to earn enough money to start his own small business, the dauntless bounty hunter and aspiring restaurateur, Beck, is talked into bringing back home his shady boss's adventure-seeking son, Travis, from the impenetrable Amazon jungle. However, there in the dusty town of El Dorado, cheesy on-the-nose name,
Mm.
Beck is in for a wild ride as the local tyrant and powerful mining baron, Cornelius Hatcher, is desperately trying to track down Travis, the only person who knows the exact location of the precious golden artifact, the Gato.
Mm.
Will they get out of the jungle in one piece? Some of these like taglines go like they're short, they're to the point, they're great. They are an elevator pitch. Some of them
Right.
go too long, man.
Right.
I'm betting like the second one that we're getting into tonight. I didn't even write it down. I think I
Okay.
was already. I think after doing it 3 times, I think I was sick of it.
Oh, are you talking for Deconstructing Harry?
Yeah.
I think you put it in at the end, actually.
Oh,
If I
did I?
remember correctly. Yep. Yes, you did. Yeah, you put it in
Oh,
at the
yep,
end
yep.
this time. Yep.
Ah, fair enough. All right. Well, whatever. You're doing that one, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
All right. Why did I bring this one in?
Because if I remember correctly, it kept coming up in conversation because um we're both rather miffed at the Rock's trajectory in his career. That he has put a writer in his
Hold on, hold
contracts
on.
that
Let me,
he.
let me, let me, let me, let me take it back a bit.
Hmm?
That was a really dumb way of me to do that. Ask me.
Oh, I thought you genuinely wanted to be reminded.
No. No, that was part of the like ask questions thing.
Right. Okay.
That was a really poor
So,
way of me to do that.
yeah. So, Brad, why don't you
Yes.
tell us why you wanted our audience to hear about what was it called again? The rundown. The
The
rundown.
rundown. Okay. The reason that I wanted to cover the rundown is because when I first became a fan of The Rock, it was after his wrestling career, kind of, but at the beginning of his acting career. I thought he was funny. I thought his timing was great. I thought he was the, upcoming action hero that he was and became. But at this point in his career, he got his ass kicked. He was made a clown of. He was better characters. Now he's this invincible guy. He can't get punched in the face. He can't bleed. He can't lose a fight. Like, you go into every Rock movie knowing what every Rock fight is going to be like because of his contractual obligations and the enormous size of his ego now. This, in my eyes, early Rock was golden era Rock.
Mm.
And set aside from that, Sean William Scott at this point in his career, fantastic.
He really was. Like I am surprised that he didn't go further than he did because he was like, after being Stifler, he kind of like just was he was everywhere. He had small roles in big movies, he had big roles in small movies. He was killing it everywhere. And I think I said this when, last time we talked about this, but when I think the last thing I can remember seeing him in was in Evolution, which I loved him in. And
Oh,
then I just
absolutely.
and
And then
now
there was
he's
the
just
movie
gone.
Cop Out with him and Bruce
Yeah,
Willis and Tracy Morgan, right?
Tracy Morgan. Yep, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about him being in that. But yeah, no, that's yeah. He for someone who was so on the rise. I don't know. I don't know where he went.
No, he did another movie with Chow Yun Fat called Bulletproof Monk, which I hate how much I love that movie. So
I
bad, so cheesy, so
feel
terrible, but God, I love it so much. But we all have those. We all have them.
that's the thing. No, that's the thing is like I feel like I've seen that movie. I just can't remember it because of course, yeah, Chow Yun Fat, Bulletproof Monk. Of course, I would have seen that in the theater. That is practically a movie made for me. I had to have seen it, but I cannot for the life of me remember it.
It's not super memorable. You got to give it that.
Okay.
Like, it's just, it ends in a very, very cheesy. The whole thing is super cheesy. It's so dorky, but it's like you watch it and you just can't help but have fun. It's like,
Was
man,
it directed by John Woo?
could have been. I don't know. Don't remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's take a quick look as we detour here. Bulletproof Monk. Uh, I'm trying to remember who the third actor was. Oh, it was Jamie King.
Mm.
Right. Oh man. Okay, who directed it?
Yeah.
Paul Hunter.
Paul Hunter. Does
Known
not ring
for
any bells.
such films as Government Cheese
Never
and a
heard of
bunch of
that
music
one.
videos.
Okay. Hey.
Ooh,
All
he
right.
directed Snoop Dogg Drop It Like It's Hot. Actually, yeah, okay, so yeah, this guy, 124 credits and or as a director and basically everything but government cheese. That's I hate how curious that name makes me. I hate myself. All right, back to the rundown and opening in on it.
All
Opens
right.
on a battle between The Rock and an NFL line protecting their in-debt quarterback. And that rundown that he gives over who all the players are and like the characters, all that, I love that. And as we were talking about, because we tried to do a reaction video, but I
Right.
don't know how to edit those, so that's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to take some
It's a that's
time.
a new it's new territory. Yeah.
Yeah. But still, we definitely should have that. I need that edited. Like it's the rundown. I gotta. Uh, but the option A and option B speech, we get that as a three beat in this film, and it works out really well. I mean,
Sure.
the nice guy, he's intimidating, but he's nice and everything like that. I thought it was great. I thought the
Hmm.
opening sequence was great. Walking by Arnold Schwarzenegger for why? Just a quick cameo. Loved it.
Yeah, I think that was like right after he finished being governor and there was rumors that no one was sure if he was going to get back into acting again or not. And so I think that was just kind of that might have been
Hmm.
kind of one of those like, oh, we going to get another Terminator?
Huh. I thought it went the other way around. All right. Whoops. That NFL line's asses. And then just,
Hmm.
oh my God. And like I said it as we were covering it, that record player flying across and catching the guy in his kidney.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, every time I think of this movie, that is one of the first things that comes to my mind. That is a
That
painful shot.
yeah, and I think one of this would might have been earlier days, like I if I can remember correctly, like the well used combo of like it was like a combination of practical and CGI in order to up the stakes on their fight scenes. Something that is like deeply used in all of the Marvel movies right now. Like I remember when I was watching the Black Widow movie, like thinking, Jesus, how did no one die in this fight scene? Because they're combining their wire work with some pretty decent CGI, and this was the early days of that. To
Mm.
really just kind of like not do full CGI, just use a little CGI to really make it sting. And I thought it's a good use of the new art form. I thought, and this was one of the earlier forms that I can remember seeing. So
Maybe earlier forms of it being pulled off really, really well, but this movie was like early 2000s. Like, we have fantastic examples of that working all the way back in Terminator 2.
I don't recall it in Terminator 2. I just remember the liquid metal
The liquid
effects.
metal fight scene as they're in the iron factory at the end.
Well, okay, yeah, that was combining CGI with a fight scene. It wasn't using CGI to enhance what was like practical to make it look like it hurt worse than it did or anything like that. Like
Oh, no, no,
that
no, no.
was
That liquid metal like when he's shooting him going into lava. No, that was a practical effect. That
hmm.
whole like twisted thing, I think that's in the Smithsonian right now.
Oh, right. Yes, I've seen the pictures of it too. Yeah, it was like a yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah.
No, that is what I would say is the perfect blend. And then they also did it with like the new Star Wars movies where they have like the practical effects and then they have CG sweating going to make it like look even better. That is the
Okay. Also,
perfect blend.
yep.
But I think and I'm gonna have to go with my timeline on this one, but I think that particular shot in Terminator 2 might be my earliest best that I can think of.
Okay. Well, see that I just remember that
Unless
standing.
we're going with Jurassic Park and the added CG that they did for the T-Rex animatronics. Wait, no, T2 was before
No,
Jurassic
no,
Park.
so well, and see that my direct point isn't just the combination of practical with CGI to enhance the scene. I'm talking fight scenes. I'm talking the fact that
Oh, Crouching
yeah, he
Tiger, Hidden Dragon is probably then the best.
kind of yeah, and that came after this. I'm pretty sure.
No. Was Crouching
I'm
Tiger
relatively
after the
certain.
rundown?
Maybe very close together at least
I
because
think yeah,
here's
I
the thing.
remember being the same era.
Yeah, I know I saw both of these movies for the first time while I was living in China. That's the best. That's the best narrow down of
Okay.
timeline I can think of.
Crouching Tiger came out 3 years before The Rundown.
Okay, there
And
was a
Crouching Tiger
lot
was
of.
fantastic.
It was fantastic, but that was mostly wire work there.
Oh
They
yeah, I
didn't.
mean
Yeah,
like that movie was like a whole just advertisement over look at how good we can do this. Put us in other movies. Hire our team for other projects.
right.
But
Exactly. Yes.
still a very beautiful movie.
Hollywood, please hire us. Hong Kong is owned by China now. We need a reason to get out.
Hmm. Ow. Off to meet William Lucking as Walker, who owns The Rock's debt, sends him to Brazil to find his son who stooped the wrong wife. I'm sorry, like Billy Walker. Man, this guy played a good bad guy. I hated this guy, and this movie did a very good job of making me hate him immediately.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Forgot when the sun's going down, I have to turn on other lights. Flying into El Dorado to the tune of Johnny Cash's Don't Take Your Guns to Town, and he notices that duct tape on the wing. The sheer panic as he like just freaking out. So he's like, "Is that really duct tape?" Like, "Oh, calm down, little fella." That frickin' Scotsman, Ewan Bremner, calling The Rock little fella might be one of my favorite dialogue decisions of that movie.
Yep. Yep.
Too many good things. Just too many good things.
And that's the thing. And it brings back what you were saying before about like movies that have just kooky characters. Like even if your character isn't a major part of the plot, just give them some fucking character. Even if it's not in the script, let your actor go crazy. Yeah, like we don't need every character to only serve their purpose and then disappear. Give them some verve. Let them be people. You know that
exactly. Like, that is what makes them special.
Yeah.
Meeting Travis and Mariana, Sean William Scott and Rosario Dawson. Oh my God.
This and we talked about this while we were doing the reaction video. This is why I was having second thoughts about the reaction video because most of the time was just me going, Jesus Christ, Rosario Dawson is so fucking hot right now. How like
it was
like
she
was always
a
has
pretty
been
solid chunk of swoon.
Yeah, like she always has been, but my God, she it's turned to 11 in this movie, and I was not able to cope in the moment. So
that is fair. But this is the moment that Travis is asking to borrow her boat, but nope, because everything that he takes gets blown up, stolen, or what have you. He's just not the guy to rely on, is basically the point of this scene.
I feel like this movie was the last chapter in like a whole Indiana Jones series about just this guy. Like he's sleeping with mob wives. He's going around, you know.
I would have watched that. Sean William Scott is like the new like jokey Indiana Jones. Dude, this movie should have launched into a franchise, and the fact that it didn't is crazy weird to me.
No, yeah, for sure. Yep.
I will always think that. Getting the exposition dump from Declan, played by Ewan Bremner, on the way to meet Hatcher, played by Christopher Walken. That long shot that they have on the way there where you see the workers in the truck and they just kind of slow as they pass down, and you get that eye contact from The Rock to this. It's like, that mine is as close to hell as a man can get.
Yes.
Like, they did some very solid world building, right, like all the way through. And I don't think they ever really stopped until like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
No, you get a real solid feel of everything that's happening. Even if you don't, even like there's a lot of exposition dumps in this movie. But even when you're not getting an exposition dump, you are still feeling informed and filled in as to what life is like in this little area of Colombia that they're in. Yeah.
Brazil? Well, yeah.
Okay. My bad.
I am 100% sure.
Okay.
I will take your word and one reason alone, and we're actually almost there. The conversation between Hatcher and Beck about another man's fridge, and that moment where the camera cuts away to Walken is like, well, I don't go to another man's fridge. Walken, and then back to him without, like, The fact that they just put that cut in there. When you have walk-in, you use walk-in, and you film walk-in.
Yes, 100%.
You have to do that.
In fact, you got to wonder, like you've heard me talk about my rule of never, when I was a filmmaker, never turn the camera off. You never know when an outtake is going to happen. I bet that in this set there was like a hard and fast rule of never turn Walken's camera off. So like even when they're on a coffee break, they've got the camera on Walken, and they probably spliced a lot of his random shit in there.
I would believe that. Oh, I could believe that so easily. But when you also have Sean William Scott on your set, I would want to say the same thing for him too.
You have a very good point there too. Yes. Yep.
Like the man, his improv skills were amazing. That is one thing. Watching people go back and watch American Wedding, American Pie, like reactors go to that. We talk about PC culture a lot. People still love Stifler.
Yeah.
He is a fan. He is the least PC character in that whole franchise, and he is the most loved character of that franchise.
Yeah.
Make that make sense, because another one, Dean Winchester, is the most womanizing motherfucker on television, and he is wildly beloved.
Right.
I still don't understand how that works, but good stories. It's as simple as that, in my eyes.
Good stories, and it's a charismatic character. That's the thing. I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to, is that people who do shit like that get away with it with charisma. You don't get away with it if you don't have charisma. Like, people who get called out for that, for doing shit like that, it's because they don't have the charisma to back it up, and that pisses them off. They're like, why does that guy get away with it and I don't? Because you're fucking ugly. That's why. Just live with it.
Well, you don't have to be hot to have charisma.
No, that's true. That's a very good point. Yeah. But that,
The conversation. Then he tells Declan to be ready because he's going to be coming fast. And then popping over to The Rock meeting Rosario Dawson and a discussion about Brazil nuts. That's how I know.
Right.
And he catches Travis, and the way that he does, where he's like, he's about this tall, this color hair, he's wearing this shirt, and right now he has a really bewildered look on his face. I love that scene. One, because he wasn't smart enough to be literally described. Hear somebody describing him and bolt out the door right away while they got... I was like, okay, this guy's really, really dumb. Because if you know who you are and you know that there are people looking for you, if somebody is describing you, you're gonna keep walking.
Right, yeah. No, like, but that was very much that was a Xena Warrior Princess moment is what that was. That was a scene that, if it wasn't, like, I haven't seen every episode of Xena Warrior Princess, but I would be willing to bet that there is a scene exactly like that one somewhere in one of those episodes. I would not be shocked at all. That was absolutely
I mean,
the vibe.
Considering who the director was, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And this is our second time for the option A, option B speech. And then the confrontation with Hatcher's men and his witty commentary of, welcome to option C. I'm sorry, I just can't, like, walking every time, like, he's always like, well, this man has a gato and I'm going to need it. And like, just,
which
Walken would be the greatest con man in the world if he did not want to be an actor. I believe that. Probably,
yes. That's probably true. And I think that's an interesting point. We should kind of, like, because we sort of skipped over that in the when you gave the rundown of the rundown for folks who have not seen the movie, to let you know, there is some golden idol called the Gato, which apparently is a religious relic of some kind.
Oh, yeah.
And whoever gets their hands on it gets some sort of, like, sword in the stone automatic kingship type thing.
The only person who knows the exact location of a precious golden artifact, the Gato.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so it's basically, Sean William Scott wants to get it because apparently he's an archaeologist, and just wants to, but they're also saying that he just wants to sell it because it's worth a lot of money. And Walken wants it because he thinks that'll solidify his position as, like, God Emperor of this mining town. And meanwhile, the local rebels want it.
He's got that ego, and he plays it.
Right, yeah. And then the local rebels want it because if they got it, that would inspire the people to help them revolt against, Christopher Walken. And so that's why everyone's after this freaking statue. And apparently Sean William Scott's the only person who actually knows where it is. And so they're all after him to try to get him to give up the location. So that's what complicates things for The Rock, is that he just wants to bring the kid back home to face the angry husband. Meanwhile, everyone in the world is also after him because they want the freaking golden cat for some reason.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I did explain that in the beginning where they were like, where Travis, yeah.
You said you just said he's after the golden gato. He didn't say what it was.
Yeah, the only person who knows the exact location of a precious golden artifact, the gato.
That doesn't explain it. That doesn't really explain it. That says it's a precious gold. Okay, yeah, he's after a piece of gold. Like the fact that it's a religious artifact that everyone is after because it's not just money, man, it's esteem that comes with it.
Like, there's a part in the movie where they go into that. That's where I was going to explain that.
Oh, okay.
Remember where they're going down the boat and she's talking about like what they're going to do with it and stuff like that. And he's like, oh yeah, they're going to like plant seed and bring the rain and do all this. And then like, so they go into the religious art, standpoint of it. But then she's talking about, no, but selling it will give us power and get us out from Hatcher's thumb.
Okay. See, I forgot about that conversation. Yeah.
So that was part of it.
It's been like 3 weeks since we watched this movie. So
I know. You watched Deconstructing Harry, that hard motherfucker, all over again, but you didn't watch the goofy laugh out loud for like an hour and a half one?
I was planning on making a slideshow for it.
All right. Oh, God, where are we? Oh, okay. So the confrontation with Hatcher's men and his witty commentary as they're going through, it never stopped being funny. And this was like, I think, technically the bar scene at the very intro of the film. We saw some WWE stuff, but this is where we really saw some of it. Table flying in the air, the whip busting the table in half, everything, and just the whole time, Walken's like, oh, wow, whoa, like just he was the comic book automatopoeia. The whole
yeah, exactly.
It was amazing, and I want to watch every movie with him being that character.
So at 100%, yeah, and you like almost like he was resisting the urge to look directly in the camera and go, "Can you believe this shit?" Like.
Oh, I'd pay so much good money for that. Money I don't have. The car chase and escape as they're going through the jungle, and Sean William Scott, he's sitting there, he's like, hey man, we gotta go back, we can't do this. He's like, all right man, I'm sorry about this. About what? Yanks the wheel and they go tumbling down that mountain. And that shot just doesn't quit.
No, yeah. No, that's one of the better visual moments of the movie, where you just watch them and the car fall for a long time.
You start laughing, you stop laughing. It keeps going so long that you start laughing again. Like it's
right, exactly, yes.
It is a fantastic moment. And I forgot and I think I'm pretty sure that Jeep falling down, like almost hitting them, like after they fall, I'm pretty sure that's in the trailer. I'm pretty sure that's one of the trailer shots.
Okay.
But I honestly can't fully remember, but I forget about that every time. I'm laughing, I'm into it. I'm like, oh, God, man, they did a really good job on this. All of a sudden, there's a Jeep coming down about to kill him. And I'm like, how do they make me forget this every time?
I know, right?
I thought it was great. I thought it was absolutely great. The standoff. Oh. The lightning and thunder standoff.
Oh yes, yeah, and you told me this was actually improvised. This wasn't in the script, and yeah.
Did I say that? If I said that, I had to find that in the notes somewhere. I cannot stop with that one. You come into my bar, you eyeball my woman. Eyeball your woman. And I love that. This whole step. A little lightning, a little thunder. This, oh my God, just Sean William Scott's like delivery on this, and The Rock just
Right.
standing there playing the straight man, and then that line, "You done beating me up? Let's go."
Right.
Everything about it was great. God, I want 100 more movies with these two as like
I
buddy
want,
cop.
yes, no, you said it before. You're absolutely right. This should have been a franchise. This was supposed to be the first movie of a franchise that we have been robbed of for some reason.
Alternate reality, man. The one
Hmm.
Harambe lived. We had a 20 movie rundown run. I still don't feel good about that joke. I, uh, let's see. Okay. Hatcher and his men are on the hunt, and that's when we get the Tooth Fairy speech. Good God. Just him. Do you understand the concept of the Tooth Fairy? And then just having that guy interpret the story of the Tooth Fairy and all of it. It was so
Right.
good. Okay.
I get like that. That's and you got to sit there and wonder, like, was that in the script or was that walking improvising? Because it was just so out there and so, just like perfectly like in tune with what the character he was doing, and so is kind of some weird symphony of Christopher Walkenness just coming right at you.
As far as you go with perfect Christopher Walken roles, you wouldn't like I wouldn't expect to put it a movie that grossed this much, all that, like whatever. I wouldn't
Hmm.
expect it. I wouldn't expect one of the greatest Christopher Walken performances to be in a like sideways comedy.
Right.
Why is it? That is, I mean, it's Christopher Walken. Like he has
Right.
a powerhouse role for every decade going back 4 decades
No, for sure. Yeah.
or
and
five.
and they usually are weird places where he pops up. Like I don't recall him being like one of the advertised actors for this one. It was Sean William Scott and Dwayne the Rock Johnson. The fact that you get to the theater and Christopher Walken's there was a pleasant surprise. And there's a lot of movies where I feel, at, at least it was for me. I didn't know he was in it until I started watching it. Again, I was in
Can't
China at the
remember.
time, so
Too
I don't
long
know.
ago.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm thinking movies like that that Adam Sandler movie Click. I had no idea Christopher Walken was in
Oh,
that until I started
yeah,
watching it,
yeah.
and he's fucking amazing in it.
He was
Same
advertised all over that one. I can remember that.
Oh, he was.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
so
was the
yeah,
guy with the remote. Like I think
yeah.
it was
See,
like
I don't
it
remember.
was like his narration going into Bed Bath and Beyond. Like it was his narration over the trailer. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't catch any of that because I never saw a trailer. Again, China.
Ah. Okay, I'm never gonna forget Click because when I saw that in the theater, that was like I was in the theater with my stepdad,
Mhm.
and that's the thing. Like he hadn't been my stepdad for that long at that point. So when it came to Adam Sandler crying in the rain at the end of that movie, spoiler warning, I lost it. I'm in the movie theater just because he's over here and I'm like just trying my hardest to I'm a young teen boy trying to be a man. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
No, that was a heavy pathetic moment for me. No, but I will never forget that because of that reason. Doc,
No, yeah, that was.
I gotta say it's kind of weird. Way side thing. The light fading in the night sky for me and the twinkle lights in your shelf are almost the exact same color right now, and that just caught my attention.
Interesting. That's very cool. We finally have a theme going on between the two of us.
For about 5 minutes.
For about, yeah, it counts. It counts.
Yeah, sure. And then back to the Rock and Scott for the no break speech. And he's like, I don't give breaks. What do you mean? You never give breaks? And then just at the end of that, another thing that killed the comedy on that, just Sean William Scott walking away. Ah, yes, the samurai code. No breaks. No breaks. And just walking off into the... I love these guys. I love both of them in this era. I know
Yeah.
The Rock is still funny and he's got it. Jungle Cruise, I watched like the first 10 minutes of that and it was really funny.
Right.
Like I
Okay.
will give it, like he's still got his comedy. But what I said when we were watching the reaction, like when we were doing the reaction video, did The Rock ever get better as an actor?
And I don't I think I stood on no, and I stand by that. He's
Like
not
I've been
bad.
thinking about
That's the
that. I've
thing.
been thinking. Well, no, he
He's
wasn't bad
not.
to begin with.
Yeah,
He
and
just
but
never
yeah,
got better.
he's never had a reason to. He hasn't done what, a lot of folks who have his trajectory where they start in one edge of entertainment, whether it's wrestling or rap or rock music or something like that. And then they're like, okay, now that I'm famous, I'm gonna springboard that to be an actor. It's what I've always wanted to do anyway. And then eventually they start taking on dramatic roles. Rock never did that. Rock never really
Not that I
felt
can
the
really
need
think of.
to he never really felt the need to kind of like expand himself as an actor. He was like, no, I just like doing this and I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
No, it's either
Um,
tough guy or cool guy.
yeah.
That's pretty much all I've ever seen The Rock do. There was that, like, he did, like, was it him or Vin Diesel? Did, like, the pacifier or something like that, or the tooth fairy? One of them
The
did one
two
and one did the other.
I think the Tooth Fairy was Rock, I want to say.
Okay, that's what I was saying, because I'm pretty sure the
I,
pacifier is Diesel.
I thought the pacifier was Jason Statham.
Mm-mm. No, no,
Okay.
what the hell with it? Might as well look it up and make sure.
Okay. I could be wrong.
Vin Diesel, Brittany Snow. Oh,
Okay.
Brittany Snow. Oh, man, that hurt me in a way that I wasn't ready for. Miss her.
Brittany Snow's dead?
I'm thinking of Brittany Murphy.
Okay.
Wow. I'm really
Oh,
dumb.
yeah, I miss
I'm
Brittany
really dumb.
Murphy.
Well, I know why she was on my mind. I was just thinking about, like, when you were saying, like, going from rap or whatever to movie. I was thinking Eminem and 8 Mile with Brittany Murphy. Like, she was already on my mind.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Just me
She was
being.
something special for sure.
Yes, she was. Let's see. Caught by a trap and humped by a monkey.
That whole thing was just weird. That was just a
Fantastic.
weird moment to just throw in the movie.
Fantastic. But something that I remember from watching the DVD, the special features
Hmm.
when I was a kid, was they had this behind the scenes joke where they did this video where, like, the director and the stunt coordinator and all this were talking about this epic love affair that The Rock was having with this monkey. And all that, like they all took it really seriously and they were giving hard, like, deliveries. And I was sitting back at like 15 years old, losing my mind, laughing my ass off to this
Right,
behind
yeah.
the scenes footage. And see, like that, like the good sport, like the comedy aspect, how good of a sport he
Yeah.
maybe is. But there's just something about finding out that contractually he won't take a punch to the face that just makes me think that his ego is too big to have that good nature about him.
Well, I mean, there is one thing to it, but then you're not wrong. You're probably right to a certain degree, but also at the same time, especially watching a movie like The Rundown, where he took so many hits to the face, and there were multiple takes on each one of those hits. There could be just some part of him that's like, this is something, it never stops stinging. Like, there is no getting used to a hit in the face.
Where I
It always
understand,
hurts just as much every time. Maybe he's just sick of it.
where I understand where you're coming from on that. If you're gonna be an action guy, that's your role. That's what you do. If Jackie Chan didn't,
That's a good point. You have a good point there.
Bruce Willis, he took punches, he took hits, he did all that all the way up until he was like old.
Hmm.
I mean, come
Okay.
on. Like like, yes, I do understand. I am an understanding person when it comes to this thing. But also understand that's what prevents you from being a legend.
Mm.
That's what makes you one of the actors and not one of the dedicated performers to the full craft.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Jackie Chan, legend.
yeah.
But there's a way that you can guarantee that. Find me anybody who will argue that. That person doesn't
Right.
exist.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that Jackie Chan is an absolute legend, and it's because he was willing to go there.
Yeah.
And skills and comedy and
I mean, he had a lot of advantages to begin with. Yeah,
and his singing career.
He had wealthy parents that sent him to a school that was, he learned martial arts along with history and language. The rest of us
The
were like,
school
if we
he went to, mm-mm,
no,
mm-mm. Oh
it's
my
what I it's
God. The way they, oh man, the way they brutalized him in that school.
okay. See, I heard it was like some super expensive like boarding school where it was like, you know, it was like on top of teaching all the same stuff we would learn in a public school. That's where he also learned dance and martial arts and singing and stuff like that. It was all part of his curriculum, and that's kind of how he got his skills, was because he went to a special school.
Yeah, in communist China in the 60s.
Oh, thought it was in Australia.
Was
Okay,
it?
I heard wrong.
Whoa, let's back this up a little bit.
See, Jackie Chan is a legend that no one can get right.
Jackie Chan attended the China Drama Academy, a Peking opera school in Hong Kong. There, he
Oh,
trained rigorously in martial arts, acrobatics, acting, and singing. The intense
okay.
training led to the foundation for his incredible stunts and unique film styles.
Okay, in Hong Kong, so it's British at that time. At that point in time, it's still British ruled.
Now,
So
I remember watching a documentary about Jackie Chan when I was a kid because I was obsessed with Jackie Chan, and
sure,
like,
yeah.
yeah, no, like he talked about it. He talked about like the training. He talked about like the punishments and like of getting things wrong and all this. Uh-uh. no,
Yeah.
no. Holy crap.
No,
Yeah.
I did see that when I was working as an English teacher in China. There were a couple of times I saw kids get whipped. It was
Yeah, and that
oh,
was like in the year 2000.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, we're talking like 40 years before that.
yep.
Like, no, this was taken in by the rebels, and Scott sets the Rock up for a high wire beatdown from Ernie Reyes Jr. I want to call this man a legend, but he's probably more of a myth because not enough people know his name.
Mm,
And just while Sean William Scott gives that Stifler style of commentary
mm.
and just setting him up, and he has the Rock like, just keep staring at them, just keep looking at them, and they're sitting there like, why is this big man like staring at me? Where is this disrespect? What is happening here? And he's like, just keep staring. And then the Rock,
Right.
you smell what I'm cooking? Like full on. It was right there. My God, dude! But that high wire fight, that beatdown, that was a fantastic fight.
It really was. Yeah, that
Not
was
just
one
that,
that
but the
should be in the
music
history
that
books.
paired up with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, when you're looking at 2003, I mean, what were the big fight scenes that were like competing out that year? What? The Matrix Revolutions?
2003. I think we were by 2003. I think we were still reeling from the first Matrix movie. So
No,
that was 19.
we had already had the third one by then.
Had we?
Yeah, because like they came out like year after year.
Okay. Well, I mean, the second two Matrix movies, the fight scenes weren't nearly as impressive. That was kind of the
Yeah,
thing.
okay, so this was the same year as the Matrix Revolutions. So yeah,
Okay.
Matrix Reloaded had already come out.
Okay.
Let's see, what are the big action flicks of 2003? We got Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, the best one.
Oh wow. Okay.
The Matrix Reloaded, and okay, so it was Reloaded and Revolutions that came out the same year.
That's right. They did. They only came out like 6 months apart, 3 months, or like 4 or 5 months apart. I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, and they were both very disappointing.
they were.
Yeah, especially compared to the first one. My God, Kill Bill Volume 1,
Mhm.
Terminator 3, The Italian Job, which had a fantastic car chase sequence.
The Italian job was shockingly good. I was
I
surprised how
enjoyed
much
it.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Bad Boys 2, and ooh, oh crap, Master and Commander, Far Side of the World.
Oh, which we have done an episode on that here.
We did,
Yeah.
yes, we did an episode on that, but I can't say that any of those fight sequences beat the rundown. I think the
No.
only one that actually did is Pirates of the Caribbean.
I mean, they were pretty
arguably
good.
Kill Bill, but way different kind of fighting.
that's the thing. Is like they were totally different style. We're talking like the Europe, very European fencing. They were decent. But they were kind of more of a throwback to like
Samurai.
Princess Bride type fights in in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh my god! I thought you were talking Kill Bill. I was like,
Yeah, no,
my brain is not.
Kill.
What?
Yeah, yeah. So we got Princess Bride type fights in Pirates of the Caribbean. Kill
So
Bill
charming.
is Kill Bill was very much like kind of a throwback to the old samurai
Kurosawa.
and ninja movies of the 60s and stuff like that. And then we got something a little bit more WWE-ish was for the rundown. And so we're talking they're comparable, but all completely different styles, and so it's very difficult to compare them on that regard. Yes.
I will say, Pirates of the Caribbean takes number 1. Rundown takes number 2. Kill Bill takes number 3, just because I didn't find them as funny, like as fun. Like I know people really love the Tarantino kill style.
Sure.
They love the Tarantino. I don't. That doesn't land on me in the same way as it does other people.
Okay.
Love some of his others. I mean, dude, Django Unchained, incredible. Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs is my favorite Tarantino flick.
Okay.
What's yours?
I think
Just
Inglourious
curious, as I'm
Bastards.
looking for the next note. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Oh man, that is.
Yeah, but
But I think it's the complex nature of Reservoir Dogs and that fantastic twist.
and I think also with Reservoir Dogs, he was doing more with less. Like he had no budget, he had no set. It was 100% dialogue dependent. This movie was, and he pulled it off amazingly. And I think it's and so that's like he gets credit for Reservoir Dogs because he had a lot less to work with.
Like that whole how come you get to be Mr. White? I got to be Mr.
Right.
Pink. Like
I know, right? That went down, and we were quoting from that. It's like for years upon years to come. I had friends that like named each other that. Like I had a friend that went by Mr. White, and he had a Mr. Pink friend. Like that's how they would introduce themselves. If they ever entered a place together, they'd be like, "I'm Mr. White. This is my buddy, Mr. Pink," and they did that for like 6-7 years straight.
oh my god. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
A while, sure, that would have been fun. That long, I would have grown out of that. As their buddy, I would have grown out of that. The fight ends when Dawson returns to save the day and lectures the rebel like a mom. And like freaking Ernie Reyes like sitting down there like speech in Portuguese, but what about Hatcher?
Right.
That was incredible. I loved that so much. And we found out, she's the rebel leader. Talking rumble in the jungle with Reyes Jr. until Hatcher arrives for a midnight massacre. And, we've talked about shaky cam and the cutaways and stuff like that. I feel like this was a well done version of the shaky cam.
It was, yes, and I think, and it comes to that whole sort of like, why are you doing it? And all too many occasions we see that shaky cam used because it got popular, and so people were like, well, let's throw a shaky cam in here, and it just confuses the issue.
It's easy to hide mistakes.
Exactly, yeah, it's hard to tell what's going on. In this one, they were doing it solely to add to the fact that the rebels were caught off guard by this attack, and they are confused, and so you're confused with them. Yeah,
a sense of anxiety.
Exactly, and at no point are you lost as to what's happening. We still get a chain of events. We can still see what's going on, but there is an added anxiety because the camera is handheld for this. And it's not something that they repeat later on just for the shits and giggles. It was very much an in the moment thing. It was well used for that moment.
That's because they actually had wire work at the end of this film too, and for a lot of that wire work, that was choreographed, that was planned. You don't want to shaky cam that up and actually like ruin this beautiful image that you have.
Of course,
and I'm glad that they didn't.
Yep.
They escape off into that boat. In traveling to find the Gato, as everyone shames and compares one another to the other. And this is that moment where Rosario is talking about the gato will make waterfall from the heavens, and the fields will grow, and all this.
She's telling him the legend, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and talking about the connotation, she's like, and you're just gonna sell it to the black market. He's like, no, I wasn't. I was gonna Indiana Jones it and put it in a museum.
Right.
And then we find out that she's going to sell it so the community can get out from Hatcher's thumb. But it's this mystical aspect to it that has kind of put legends. And kind of always loved that. The next scene, though, I was wrong. I was so wrong, and I'm not okay with how wrong I was.
Go on.
Okay. The penis.
Because I don't remember what the next scene is.
The penis eating fish.
Oh, right. Yeah. No. If don't pee in the water when you're in the water, because there's a certain type of fish that is attracted to your urine and will swim up your tube if you do that.
I just remember the nickname for it. It's a toothpick fish.
Right, yeah, and this thing really freaking exists, and they never any movie that takes place anywhere near the Amazon, they never miss an opportunity to remind us that this thing exists.
Yeah, and then the rocks respond like that. So she's like, it'll swim up your pitu. My what? Your pitu. It'll swing up your ding dong. Right. His response, not this boy's pitu. Not today. Right. No, that gave me a chuckle.
In the whole time that Sean William Scott has been in this country, he's never taught Rosario Dawson the word for dick. Apparently.
He's the character that would say ding dong.
It's good. Okay. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Swimming into the cave where the gato is hidden, and they swim up, and what's that smell? Lighting that lighter right out of the water to lighting a lighter. I would love to know what kind of lighter that was, because nuh-uh. And then just the small little explosion. You obviously don't know anything about methane deposits. Just small explosion gag. That's it. But I think that was also meant to make the booby traps weaker for the following scene.
Okay. I suppose that's one thing. I mean, it's clear we're getting into Indiana Jones territory here, where there just seems to be random traps and serial adventure movie type stuff. Yeah.
The good thing about these traps is they're a one and done. It's not like where you see a lot of the other movies where you have like these spikes that come out in the wall or this blade that comes through. Any of these things that literally would need to be reset by somebody. Like you have these ancient traps that nobody has seen in 1,000 years.
Right.
Yet the traps keep getting reset. This did not have that plot hole.
Right, yeah.
And it's not often that you get around that plot hole, but they did it very, very well. This booby trap, I really liked it. Very much Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade. You got to step on the right ones, but instead of falling below, the ceiling is going to come down on you. It literally is exact. It is opposite The Last Crusade.
Right, exactly.
And they get away with the gato. He actually successfully gets it. And we have this hardcore The Rock moment where he's holding up an entire cave with just his biceps. Mm-hmm. And then we get that absolutely terrible PS2 cutscene where in a movie that we had some pretty good visual effects and all of this, we get the absolute worst cutaway that I saw. We were talking about The Matrix.
Right.
You have Neo and his fingers fighting all the Agent Smiths that looked horrible. Same year, same level of just, oh my God.
Yeah. Because you know what? They've got a budget. They've got to stick to. They had to make decisions as to where they spend their money. And honestly, I think they made the right choices. I think they made the correct choices. Yes, we had one cutaway scene
with this one because they could have cut away to the outside of the cave and just had a bunch of smoke, a bunch of dust. And it would have been a better effect. It would have been the same effect. The collapse would have happened and all of this. We just wouldn't have seen the terrible CGI.
You're probably correct. Yeah.
But you're right. Budget had to go to certain things.
Yeah.
That moment where she's going through and she's describing that fruit as she's cutting it up for him and talking about what this fruit or this gato is going to do for everybody.
Yeah.
When she roofies them with that and the effects and the hallucinogenic filmmaking that they had with that
That's
little
where
ear
that money
wobble,
went.
fantastic. That ear wobble was amazing.
Yes, it was.
That's where I say, like, a lot of these decisions, they definitely were not just improv. They were things that were planned because you had to do that.
Right, yes.
That was incredible. That
Yeah,
bouncing
and
ear will always get me.
And there you go, because like they cheaped out on their cutaway scene in the cave because they wanted to spend their money on the ear wiggle you were just talking about.
And I'm guessing the practical monkeys.
Well, and that too, yes.
That could
And that's
not
why
have
I
been
say,
cheap.
right, and that's why I say I think they made the correct decisions.
I will agree on that one. Because the way that he wakes up with, "Go away, monkey! Go away, monkey!" Joe, I'm sorry. That is the most acting that The Rock did in this movie. I think you said that while we were watching it, and I 100% agree.
All right, okay. Yeah.
No, that absolutely killed me. Really quick, they make it back to the plane. After this huge... So apparently, the gato was like 100 yards away from the airfield that The Rock landed on because they had no trouble getting back there after.
Yeah. We had epic journeys through the forest, a lot of walk and talks, a lot of side quests to get where we are. Then once they got it, they're right back home in an instant. Like there's no monkeys on the way home.
Nothing. No snakes, no rebels, no nothing. No canyon, nothing. Just
they didn't even have a conversation. They just walked in silence and got there right away.
No, they literally their relation, nothing changed. Like Sean William Scott wasn't even tired. Like this is crazy. Declan is furious about the loss of his Jeep and tells that Hatcher has the rebels' artifact. Which, oh man, his damn accent. I love it. Artifact. Like God, it was too good. And then, I said this while we were watching this. You had that epic pan shot while The Rock is thinking about what he's supposed to do and all this. And it lasts
the Bruckheimer spin, yes.
Yeah, good long time. And then what do we get? Okay, Travis. Come on! All the hilarious one-liners, all the great things that were said in this movie. And the only time that you have an epic shot set up for a line delivery.
Right.
Okay, Travis.
Yeah.
Come on.
Not even so much as a, well, I got something cooking. Nothing. No.
That would have been better. That would have been. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A little fourth wall break, something right there. Anything better than. I mean, if he would have looked into the camp. Oh, we lost Doc. All right, give it a second. I'm sure he'll be right back. Wait, is he down here? Okay. You got me, Doc?
I got you.
All right. All right. Let's see. Where was I? Okay. Oh, yeah. No, so we have this epic pan around shot, and we're waiting for something really incredible and truly amazing to be said or something like that, and we get, okay, Travis. If he would have said something like, I got to potty first, that would have been better. Anything would have been better than just saying, okay, Travis. Ridiculous. Right. But then we cut to Walken's enlighten me speech. That just like, what do you guys need? Enlighten me. What can I do for you? Enlighten. Like every time he said it, he got more and more just walking. And too good. Getting interrupted by the option A or B speech. Number 3.
Yep.
They prepare for battle, but man, you can't stop a Scotsman with a bagpipe. And a herd of cattle that is stampeding alongside him. You know, that does help, but it's mostly the Scotsman and the bagpipe.
Yeah. Well, and that calls into question, like, are the are the cattle stampeding because they have an issue with the bagpipe music, or are they stampeding because they have been called to action by the bagpipes?
I think it's really clear. The Rock raised an eyebrow.
Right. The bagpipes just happened to be there.
Yeah, no, they're like, he's gonna cook us. I'm both proud of myself and disappointed in myself for that one.
I'm impressed he came up with that on the fly. That's pretty good, man. It's for something you had in the moment. I'd call that a winner.
Moving on. The showdown between The Rock and the bad guys. Well, Declan gets to narrate now instead of Hatcher, which I love that they had that. So they kept the theme, just switched the person. I thought that was a really smart way to go, and a bunch of WWE style fun. And the lightning and thunder returns. And works.
Yep.
And the surprise on his face is like, that worked? All right. Like, perfect Stifler energy. And let's see. Oh, The Rock picks up, some pew-pews, and we find out that he is highly efficient.
Right. Yes, he has that, and I think, and this goes back to a speech that I have given before about how much of our how much goes back to samurai movies and samurai stories, and what we have here is the old swordsman who refuses to pick up a sword anymore because every time I touch a sword, someone dies.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, yes, and so that's what we have with The Rock the whole time. He's refusing to use a gun. He's like, I don't like who I become when I have a gun. Finally, things get desperate enough. He picks up a gun, and a whole shit load of people die all at once.
Oh yeah, no, everybody gets tanked. But as he's going through this rampage, the way that it ends, just with that, like the barrel, or shooting the gun out of Walken's hand, and him just like, whoa.
Right.
Nice. Like, that was...
Yeah.
It was so good.
It's kind of crazy how Walken is very, very Walken in this movie, and he does the whole Walken thing while also at the same time being the stand-in for the audience, where he's just like, oh, this is crazy.
Very true. And it works perfectly, though. And in this moment with the standoff between Walken and The Rock, we get the... Travis gets away with the gato. Not really. Here's the thing. When the rebels get their kill after Hatcher has that hate-filled monologue, and he's like you are all, what he called them monkeys. He really hammered it home with all that racism and all of it. And then he gets shot twice, and then he looks at Beck and goes, Mr. Beck, I think I'll take option A. In a perfect Walken delivery.
Yeah.
I mean, Walken crushes this movie in a way that should not be expected, but easily jumps the rating and belongs perfectly.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's things like this that kind of like, this is, for some reason, a lesser known film, even though it has some of the best moments in everyone's career in it. How is this not up there with movies like The Matrix and other 90s and 2000s movies that are constantly being repeated on cable and streaming because everybody loves them? How is this movie gone forgotten when it has so many golden moments in it like this?
Man, that's a good question. This one should be like the new TBS, like playing all the time. Like that's a really good question. Yeah. The Mariana and the rebels get their gato. Beck gets his bounty, and Sean William Scott gets the shaft.
Yeah.
The return to Walker, drugging Walker. And I was like, he brings his son home, and first thing his dad does is slaps him across the face, and all this. Like, yep, I'm going to hand you over to these people who are going to kill you. Hey, good job, The Rock. Have fun with your restaurant.
Right, yeah.
So what does The Rock do? Pulls out the same fruit that he gets drugged with earlier in the film, and then drugs Billy Walker.
Right.
The getaway, and I think you said this while we were like reacting to it. How like the most rich kid entitled thing that Sean William Scott's character does in this whole movie is stand right outside a house full of people who want him dead and like start goofing around playing the thunder and lightning thing. Like, this guy has
Right.
no sense. And when the Rock, like when he walks, like pats him on the back, he's like, "I'm just messing with you," and walks away. And the
Right.
Rock's like, "I'm gonna kill you." I
Right.
wanted to see that right at the beginning of the second movie.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Fact that this did not get a
No.
sequel, absolute shame.
No, 100%. Yeah. Because yeah, we had basically some sort of like weird, goofy teenager. He was a perfect combination of Indiana Jones and Stifler was Sean William
Perfect. Yep.
Scott's character, and then you have your straight man foil muscle in Dwayne Johnson. Like, yeah, they would have been a great team. I would have watched 6 movies of this alone, like in a row
Easy.
easily. Yeah. And the fact that, yeah, we didn't get that franchise. We didn't get them, finding the real, El Dorado or something. Like, that would have been me. If I had this franchise, my next movie would have been the two of them going to actually find El Dorado. That would,
Nah,
you
I
know,
would have whole different part of the world. Like that's how like I mean, but it's The Rock. You have to put him in the jungle no matter what. But
right. Yeah.
no, like I would want this franchise to go all over the world, same as Indiana Jones. In the jungle, in the desert, in the mountains. I would want to see it all.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. Yeah.
all the
No,
different
you're right.
situations
Yeah.
that they could do. That's what I would like to see.
Which maybe that's why we got Jungle Cruise instead. Like, after like 30 years, and they're like, we're never getting run down to. Yeah, let's do Jungle Cruise instead. Close enough.
I can see that. All
Yeah.
right, I'm going to go through the trivia. You ready?
Okay. Ready.
All right. According to the director commentary on the DVD, Christopher Walken had never seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and was therefore reluctant to use the phrase Oompa Loompas in his final scene. That's one of the that was another one of the things that he was calling them
Right.
in that final scene.
Right. Yeah.
Director
Now I
Peter
remember.
Berg provided Walken with a copy of the movie, and after watching it, Walken decided to use the phrase. Walken never saw Charlie and or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I find that crazy.
Yeah. I can see how it happens, though. I mean, these things happen.
No, yeah, I'll give you that. Oh, yes. According to Sean William Scott, the Thunder and Lightning bit was just a joke, but it was so entertaining that it was kept in the film.
Right.
Uh,
So yeah. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Hatcher's Tooth Fairy speech was a substitution for him comparing the situation to Pooh stuck in the door to Rabbit's house from The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh after Disney threatened to sue over it. So that was a
What?
reshoot.
That is so weird.
Little bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, it fit. I mean,
I
it's
mean, it's
not
an
weird.
advertisement for Winnie the Pooh, so that's really weird.
Well, also, Winnie the Pooh. I mean, it's an adaptation from a book. I guess Disney, when they got the rights to do the animated version, they must have like taken the whole rights. I guess that is kind of
Must
their
have.
MO, and
Yeah.
they absolutely are sue happy about everything. I mean, like, they
Everything.
literally they don't take the free press approach to any talk about their stuff. They will sue the crap out of you for so much. I mean, I'm worried about us for bringing it up right now, honestly. Like, that's how bad they are about this.
Ugh. Moving on. When he first appears, bagpipes in hand, and near the end of the movie, Declan paraphrases the first part of Ezekiel 33:5. Since they heard the sound of the trumpet but did not heed the warning. Once seated, Declan then quotes part of Dylan Thomas's poem, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light." Beck also has a "Do not go gentle" tattooed on his inner forearm, which is seen in the next shot.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, things like that tell you it was planned out a little bit more than the style suggests.
Yeah, for sure.
When Christopher Walken is delivering his speech about keeping his eye on the ball, the images that are shown on the gold mine are a reference to a series of photos from the 1980s by Sebastio Salgado that were taken at a famous Brazilian gold mine called Serra Pelada.
Yeah. Well, and I remember we talked about this
Horrifying.
when we were watching it, like how, like, when they showed like some of the, in the establishing shot, the first time we see the gold mine and they show the whole thing. And I remember even saying then, I was like, Jesus, that's like a scene out of Dante's fucking Inferno right there. Except
no, that's
it's
one of the
not.
circles of hell.
Yeah,
That's real.
except it's real life. It's real life. It's an actual thing that's been going on in the real world for decades upon decades upon decades. And yeah, it's crazy
Happening right now.
to think that. Yeah.
No. When Christopher Walken is delivering his speech about keeping his eye on the ball, the image.
You just read that one.
I literally just said that. Here we go. Con labos. The fruit used to paralyze Beck and Travis is actually a fruit called chirimoya, or custard apple. Depending on where you buy it, the fruit does not cause paralysis and is actually eaten all over the world. Sorry. I put the wrong inflection there. Is actually a fruit called chirimoya, or custard apple, depending on where you buy it. The fruit does not cause paralysis and is actually eaten all over the world for its delicate flavor.
Okay. So that bears a question. So obviously that fruit that they have in there, that's they use a Kiramoya as a prop in that scene. But I think the question is there such a thing as some fruit? It doesn't have to be called conlabos. Is there an actual paralysis fruit out there? Because there's some weird shit in the world. There's frogs that get you high if you touch them.
Go ahead and say yes.
Okay.
Because
I think that's the kind of thing our viewers want to know. Where do we get that shit?
I don't think it's called fruit. I just think it's called too much of a weed cookie.
Because we didn't talk about when we did Serpent in the Rainbow. We talked about how that zombie shit is real and how that stuff actually exists.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So right there, that is something that is actually real. So in the Serpent in the Rainbow, what they would do is oh God, what a horrible thing to bring up.
Sorry.
We'll skip that. We'll talk about that in the after hour. This was a fun movie.
Yeah, you can go back and watch that episode again. It's on the archives. You can see us talking about the zombie fruit and all that, or it's a sea cucumber, but still,
Yeah, it's a rough one. You can go back and check that one out. All right, Doc. Final thoughts on the rundown.
I think I gave it before. I can't believe that this isn't a more commonly known movie. I can't believe that this isn't being shown reruns on TBS every day. Like it's so fun. It's got the golden moments from Walken. It's the height of The Rock's career. It's the height of Sean William Scott's career, which is weird. He should still be out there right now. I don't know why he's not.
But he is.
And of course,
he is. No, we looked this up after we reacted. There were a bunch of things that he's been doing, but there are bit parts, series, popping in on things, stuff like that.
That's right, yeah. But yeah, and like I mentioned before, Rosario Dawson is at 11 in this movie, and I'm still recovering from it. It's
her in Men in Black 2. Whoa. We lost Doc. Heard he's been having some rough weather over on his side of the country, so give us about 5 seconds and I'm sure he'll be back. Hey, look at that. I was right.
Okay.
No, Rosario Dawson in this and her in Men in Black 2, those were heart-stopping appearances when I saw her in those. Oh my god! Oh wait, and Josie and the Pussycats. Not just Rosario Dawson, man.
That's the thing, yeah. Clerks 2, even. Like, I mean, can you name a single Rosario Dawson role where she isn't the one you just sit there and go, I can't think because I'm so in love right now? Like,
not really.
That's the thing. It's just
like,
who she is.
Even when they try to downplay her, that's not something that is very easy to do.
That's the thing, yeah.
Like, you got to go like Charlize Theron in Monster. Like that is the level of effort you have to go to make Rosario Dawson not wildly desirable.
Exactly.
Like, even at that level, you'd probably still find her desirable, but I mean, you got to go hard on that.
Yeah.
All right. Rundown. I don't want to call it a must-see, but there's a huge part of me that just goes, God, you gotta go see this if you haven't seen it. It's too funny. It's a comedy with a horrifyingly evil villain that is not played for comedy, but it's so funny. Yeah. Like, if you met this guy in real life, you would be absolutely terrified of him, but he's funny to watch because you're not there. That is the essence of it. I think I put it at I would put this as a personal must-see comedy, but there is no importance to going and seeing this movie.
No. Yeah, I mean, it is unfortunate, but it's true. But at the same time, I'm right there with you. I kind of feel like, it should be a must see because it has so much going for it. And especially, nowadays when it seems like, to say a movie is a must see movie means it takes itself way too seriously. Like, I feel like this is like that kind of like antidote to it. Like, here's a movie you got to see because it's just fun. It's just fun in all
There
the
you
good
go.
ways. So maybe it's not a cultural milestone moment. Maybe it's not a piece of amazing literature that has been, handed down. But my God,
But
it
a
is a
must see
great,
comedy.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a great example of why movies are fun. And that we're missing out on. It seems like a lot nowadays, almost.
Oh,
You
fair.
know. Yep.
Like, sure, you still get funny things, but comedies, I don't know. I just don't feel like they're as funny as they were.
No.
I
They
feel
or
like,
they take an
well,
entirely different
you
approach.
can't, and that is true. Like, and the comedy just may not be for me in this era. That is probably why I love 90s and 2000s movies as much. That was the comedy
Hmm.
of my era.
Right.
And that informed my personality and did a hell of a lot more than that.
Right.
Just, I fell in love with Rachel Lee Cook, and it
Mm.
just, man, Josie and the Pussycats, that movie destroyed me. I, I was trying to be a tough guy teenager and stuff like that. I had all the bravado. I know not all the time, but sometimes,
Right.
often enough that there are still plenty of jokes that do make sense to tell about me from that time.
Sure.
And yet, I was watching Josie and the Pussycats religiously. I had the music in my headphones. Like my very first MP3 CD that I burned for my car had Punk Rock Princess on it.
Nice.
Like
Nice.
I was in deep.
See, here's the thing. You don't got to explain that to me because I'm the guy who, when the Powerpuff Girls movie came out on DVD, I went to, me and the kids went to the video store. I saw it was for sale finally, and I immediately took it to the counter to buy it. And the lady at the counter was just like, "Oh, yeah, good dad getting that." And I'm like, "That's for me." What are you
Another
talking
one of
about?
those things. I have had people tell me about the Powerpuff Girls and explain to me that it is not all about for kids.
Mm,
I have not. I couldn't do it. I could
okay,
never
that's
do
fine.
it. Like that was well, no. I'm not knocking it. I'm saying I
No,
literally
yeah.
have no idea about it.
Well, also the movie like brought it to another level. Like we're talking like the movie was on a whole other level from the rest of the series. The
Well,
series was
from
good. The movie was great.
well, the whole thing. It's kind of funny that you bring this up because I just saw a
Hmm.
video on this the other day. The whole aspect it was not supposed to be sugar, spice, and everything nice. It was supposed to be sugar, spice, everything nice, and then an accidental can of whoop ass.
Right.
So they were supposed to be the whoop ass girls.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Okay.
the whole
Instead
Powerpuff
they went
thing.
with Chemical X. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, but the whole thing was like, and they accidentally poured in an open can of whoop ass, and I'm like, oh man, that makes it like 100 times funnier. Like
Yep.
man, because I was watching the creator give like an interview, and I'm like, why does the creator right now look like he's 23? What the hell is going on right now? There's some power in writing kid stuff, I guess. But
Yep.
what do you say? You ready to take a 5-10 and then we'll come back with Deconstructing Harry?
Let's do that. All right. Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, guys, we'll be back in a little bit. Join us for part 2 of the show and Deconstructing Harry. All right, and as soon as Doc gets back, we'll jump in for part 2 of tonight's show, which is going to be him, for the first time, leading the charge on our show. What do you say, Doc?
Do we? Last couple of times when I came back, you were chatting with folks on the stream. We don't have anybody to talk to now.
Oh, no, we got a few people here, and yeah, I was just saying that this time, for the first time, we're going to be having you take the run of the show on this.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, not this one.
I'm the one that brought
one.
this cursed film to.
The fact that he said cursed film and then immediately dropped is about too funny for me. I was just saying the fact that you said it was cursed and then dropped is just, that's magical.
Yep. We've been warned, people.
All right. What do you say?
All right.
Let's get into it.
So, Deconstructing Harry.
Why did you bring this
film?
one?
Why did I bring it? I've been thinking a lot about the cancel culture concept. We talk about it every once in a while on this show, and especially when we're talking about movies from the 80s and 90s. What was celebrated back then, we can't get away with now, and stuff like that. And I was thinking about, some of the folks that have been put on the blacklist recently, Woody Allen being one of them, and how there's always this whole, thing. Whenever the allegations come out, there's shock, there's awe, there's pushback. You've got the fans that are like, no, he couldn't possibly. The one difference is that when the accusations about Woody Allen came out, there was no pushback. There was no shock.
No surprise.
All of us Woody Allen fans just kind of went like, yeah, we know. Because a solid 10 years before the allegations came out, he came out with this movie, Deconstructing Harry, which is basically Woody Allen himself confessing to the fact that he is a piece of shit. He knows he's a piece of shit, and he also thinks it's strange that he can't stop. And so, yeah, that's what this movie is. This movie is Woody Allen telling on himself, being very honest, and it's wildly entertaining, and it's probably one of my favorite Woody Allen movies. Whenever the subject comes up about like, what do we do about art made by terrible people, the examples I always bring up are Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway, famously an absolute piece of shit. That book was important because he was honest in that book, and that's what makes it still stand as a classic today. And with Woody Allen, he's honest in this movie, and I think that's what makes it stand as well. So that's why I want to talk about it. I decided it was time to take that risk and talk about this hated man as an artist. So here we are. Which is why I'm also taking the reins on this, because this is all on me, folks. This is it. Any hate we get for saying anything good about this guy, it's all me. It's all me. So, Deconstructing Harry, written, directed, and starring Woody Allen. But also in it, we got Judy Davis. We got Julia Louis-Dreyfus. We got Demi Moore. We got Robin Williams is in this for a brief moment, and you barely see him, which is a whole bit. Yeah.
I had my own thoughts on that.
Yeah. Elizabeth Shue is in this. I think this is even after she won her Oscar, so this is like, she is a star power for this one. Stanley Tucci is in there playing Woody Allen for a moment. It's amazing. We got Jennifer Garner. Yeah. Paul Giamatti in a very early, almost non-speaking role. Like, you almost miss him if you don't know his face so well. Billy Crystal is in it playing the devil and killing it. Tobey Maguire in the role he was born for. Kirstie Alley. We've also got here, you got a couple of names that I don't recognize listed here. Bob Balaban, Tony Sirico, and Amy Irving. I don't know who those people are.
Bob Balaban, he's the one who was in. He's the guy who dies in the car.
Oh, that guy, right? Okay, yeah, he's one of those you know him if you see him type guys. You just never know his name. Okay.
And Tony Siriso, he is. You know him from The Sopranos and every single
Oh,
mafia. Like
right. Yes. So
he's the guy who plays
he's
the
the cop.
cop. Yep.
Right. He's the cop at the end who threatens to beat the shit out of Harry right there. and this and yeah, and he gives the
Possibly
full
my
mob
favorite
delivery
character.
on it. Yeah, he gives the full mob delivery of it. He's just like, I'm gonna put you back in that cell and beat the crap out of you myself. and
And Amy Irving, you know her from Traffic, Adam. She played Sue Snell in Carrie. Like she's.
none of that's ringing a bell.
Do you remember Emily Sloan in the Alias TV show?
I never saw Alias.
Oh, oh,
It,
oh!
yeah, I
That
know.
really
I'm aware of
surprises
how
me for
strange.
you.
Yeah, no, after hearing a lot about the show, I feel like I should have seen it. It sounds like it would have been my kind of show, but yeah, I never got around to it.
Well, she plays Jane in this one. I believe that was his first wife.
Oh, her. Okay, okay, gotcha. All right, all right. So yeah, star power, massive star power in this. Because yeah, and we're talking. None of these are really like. We're not talking like at the beginning of their career they happen to get a bit role in a Woody Allen movie. No, everybody is in this movie at the top of their careers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this was a massively star powered film. It starts with this weird disjointed kind of repeat moment. We see um, the his we see Woody Allen's character is Harry Block, and we see his right the rundown of the movie which you wrote at the end of your notes here. Let me go ahead and
No,
get to
I'm
that.
sorry.
All right. Harry Block, played by Woody Allen, is a well regarded novelist whose tendency to thinly veil his own experiences in his writing, as well as an unapologetic attitude towards his proclivities for pills and whores. He's left him with three ex wives, all of whom absolutely hate him. He has no good relationship with them. He's about to be honored at a college to get and while facing writer's block at the same time, and his last girlfriend that he actually liked is now getting married to someone else. All of this is happening, and he's just kind of dealing with all that. It starts off with his last book that he just put out, that he just published, has now ruined the life of people in his past because
For
he's been
very
divorced.
justifiable reasons.
Yes, he got divorced, left his wife for a younger woman. That younger woman has already left him, and so he wrote about the affair he had with his ex-wife's sister while they were married, very badly disguised. Everybody who is in the book knows that they're in the book and what happened, and so the ex-wife's sister that he had the affair with is showing up at his door to confront him. That's how the movie starts. The movie starts with the ex-mistress showing up at his door to confront him about this book. And we get this very weird disjointed repetition going on. While the opening credits are playing, we see her getting out of the cab and going up to his door at least a dozen times. It's very strange. And I
Yeah,
remember
that
when
repeat of it, but the thing was that wildly caught me and drew me into the movie very
yeah,
quickly.
and like I said, like you were asking, like when we were watching, you were like, "Is something wrong with the movie? Is the stream broken or something like that?" And the crazy thing is I told you even then. I remember seeing this movie in the theater and thinking the same thing in the theater. Is there something wrong in the projector room? Because it's not just a repeated loop; it's a weirdly disjointed, cut up, bizarre confusion of the same scene that's going on over and over again. Just her getting out of the cab and walking up to his door over and over, but in such a bizarre, confusing way that you sit there going, "Is something wrong? Is on the technical side? Is Woody drunk while editing this?" Is basically what you're thinking,
Or
um,
high on cocaine.
or something, yeah, or the hooker weed that we find out about later in the movie that apparently has magical powers.
Right, never smoked that kind of stuff to bring hallucinate to make me hallucinate.
Right, yeah. But so we before we even get a full explanation, we see her walking up to the door multiple times, and then it cuts to some other scene. We are in a very nice New England home. There's people out having a barbecue. They're talking, oh, did you, who wants this and that? It's a very nice family scene. And then, we got two sisters there. One of the sisters' husband is cooking. The other sister's husband is inside watching a game, watching a basketball game. And they're talking about like, he comes all this way to be in the country and he immediately goes to watch a game. So the sister goes in to make drinks and they start having sex. The
very awkward
sex. Very awkward sex. Yeah, there, she's like trying to say, look, we can't do this. Our whole family is right outside. We'll get caught. And he's like, no, we'll just face the window and watch our family in the yard while we have sex so we can see them coming if they do. Like, so that's what they're doing. They're sitting there watching their whole family. And then they get walked in on by the blind grandma who doesn't realize that they're having sex because she's blind, and they keep going. They finish before.
Which the fact that you find out that this is a real thing that happened, really changes some things.
Kind of, yes, but no, he does say that. We do get that when we now cut to. Now she's finally shown up the door. She's actually come in and she's berating him about, giving all the giving away about their affair and this or that. And he goes like, wait, no, come on. Are you literally saying that your blind grandmother literally caught us having sex? That's ridiculous. That never happened. And she goes, you idiot. It doesn't matter because all the other details are there. What we do for a living, where we live. Like you gave everything away. Of course.
Wasn't
like,
the name almost exactly the same?
Right. Yeah, exactly. He like changed like one letter of their names to disguise their name or something like that.
From Jane to Jean or something like that.
Or something like that. Yeah. So closely that he even calls her, like while they're arguing, he calls her by her character's name by accident halfway through the argument. Like that's how close he made their names. And so.
And this is where my big theory of the movie comes in is in this opening sequence, she brings a gun.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure Woody Allen dies at the beginning of this movie.
Yes. Yeah. And it took me my fourth watch. Like that's the thing. Like I've seen this movie a couple times before this, and it wasn't until I watched it for the second time, preparing for this. So it would have been like the fourth time in total that I've seen the movie that I caught on. I'm like, oh yeah, no, Brad's onto something. This whole movie may be like a reverse Jacob's Ladder because there's a whole thing where in the midst of the argument, she pulls out a gun and she's like, I'm going to freaking kill you. And then it cuts to, another story of his. Like he tries telling her, he's like, no, you can't kill me now. I'm in the middle of writing something that you'd probably like. Is what he says. He literally says, you can't kill me. I'm in the middle of writing a story that you might want me to finish, So, and then we see that story, which is, the Tobey Maguire bit, Mm-hmm. So how do we transition scene to scene in this? Because again, we're so disjointed in this. So I'm like,
well, they head to the roof like after she pulls a gun, and that's where he gives that explanation. And then, right. We cut directly from that to a story of him as a younger man, where you were saying the perfect role for Tobey Maguire.
Right, exactly. And so so now we have this, him telling the story of Harry Younger, which is also kind of a, now Tobey Maguire is playing a Woody Allen stand-in. And he's basically complaining to a therapist about how he's not attracted to his wife. Like he's married. His wife is all sexed up. We see a scene of him sitting there at his typewriter with his hot wife in lingerie in bed going, hey, you want to fool around? And he's like, Marjorie, you're disturbing me while I work. Like he's literally says that,
completely blinded to what's from, but he says that he's attracted to literally everybody else.
That's the thing is he does say he's telling his therapist that he is horny all the time. He wants to sleep with everyone except his wife. Like that's his problem. And in the midst of this, a coworker gives him the name and number of a hooker and says like, here, this will solve your problem.
Well, it's not cheating if it's a hooker.
Right. He literally says it's not cheating if it's a hooker because it's business. It's not. And so we get this whole setup where it's like, oh, well, he borrows a friend's apartment, pretends to be the friend, that's in that apartment. He's Mendel Birnbaum now. He's using his friend's apartment and name, and hires the
Oh, what a
hooker.
name.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so we get the hooker shows up. Now, I've heard people talk and complain sometimes, and I've always kind of gone back and forth as whether or not I really think that this is a thing or just folks complaining. But there is this concept of what they refer to as race fetishization, where they basically just take someone's whole race and culture and just turn that into a sexual object. Where you going, Brad? I'm making a point. Are you okay?
I was just pushing the cat outside of the door.
Okay. But if you've ever wondered what people are referring to when they talk about that, this character, this Chinese hooker, basically is what, and that's what she is the caricature. When you think Tex Avery cartoon character of a Chinese hooker with all the racism and all the symbology and everything that tied to that.
Literally the only thing it was missing was a gong and ping, 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 piddling, ping.
Right, yeah.
Literally, that is, I mean, but the thing is, if when they opened that door, they would have made that sound, it would have actually fit this
Totally,
movie.
yeah.
That is what kind of movie this was.
Exactly, 100%, yes. So yes, the fetishized Chinese hooker shows up. He has the night of his life, so much so he's decided to go rifle through his friend's things to try to steal money from him so that he could pay her for more. And that's when there's a knock at the door, and it's Death. It's the Grim Reaper himself saying, "I'm here for Mendel Birnbaum." And
you're wearing
Tobey
his
Maguire,
robe.
Right, yeah. Tobey Maguire is like, "Oh, well, I'm just borrowing his apartment." And the Grim Reaper's like, "Don't give me that shit. You always have an excuse. You got the monogram on your robe. This is his house. Like, come on." And he's like, no, I'm not Mendel Birnbaum. I'm not. And that's when the hooker comes in and goes, "Mendel, what's going on?" And it's just like, it's a very one thing after another. And so he ends up
perfect setup for destruction.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so this is, yeah. Now we don't get to go back, and this is where, what you were talking about this, like, you're pretty sure he died there, because we don't see the resolution. Like, he tells that story to her to try to get her to not kill him. We don't see the aftermath. We don't go back to the roof where they are. We immediately jump forward to Woody now talking to his current day therapist saying, "And yeah, so I told her that story and she laughed and calmed down and left." So we only have his word for it that he didn't get shot and killed on that roof that night.
I'm telling you, I'm like, this was a weird one, but I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, so we now have just kind of like this sort of rundown of his problems. He's giving a little bit of exposition of his character. I'm a piece of shit. I love whores. My ex-wives all hate me. Again, we just basically have a scene of Woody Allen telling on himself, and
yep, absolutely.
I did mention before, there's a president joke in there. And at the time, the joke was about president. There's a joke about President Clinton that was, that I found funny, was still applicable today, where he's basically talking about how, like, he's like, I want to fuck everyone. He's like, I'm still like that. I still want to fuck everyone I meet. Normal people aren't like that. Real successful normal people don't think like that. The president of the United States doesn't walk around thinking I want to fuck everyone I meet. Bad example.
Yeah, that is dated, but I don't think it ever fades. Like that is dated for a reason. However, nope, not. Don't want to go there.
Right.
The fact that Woody Allen in this therapy session, they have so many cuts, and he just keeps terrible thing after terrible thing after terrible thing. And my theory on that particular scene is they just let the camera roll, and like in the editing room, they just chose like bits and pieces. But I think this movie was kind of his therapy session telling on himself.
Right, yeah. There might have been some incriminating stuff in that scene that they cut out. You're like, yeah, because they just pointed the camera at him, let him improv his own personality, And then they were like, well, we got to cut this part out about his adopted daughter. That's gonna.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, man, I found out that somebody that I grew up with actually cheated on his wife with their stepdaughter, and then they got married.
Oh
Turns
man.
turns out I actually know one of these guys. I'm not cool with that. I'm
Yeah.
really not okay with that. That is, wow, that is beyond messed up.
Yeah. Yep.
Weirdly, people, like, he goes, I already said the messed up thing. I'm going to leave that one go.
We don't need to dwell on this. We're already talking
Nah.
Woody Allen stuff. We don't need to
I
get
know, but that's
darker.
the thing. When you're talking about Woody Allen, that does prompt particular stories.
No, that's a very good point. That is a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of other things that would prompt that guy coming to mind.
Yeah.
No,
But yeah,
gotta say
so
that.
we do get some push into the actual plot of the film here. This is where the therapist starts asking him, well, what about this place you're going to go get honored at? Maybe you should take your son. No, he can't because his ex-wife, is immovable on that because she hates him, of course. And then the therapist brings up another short story. He goes, you are reminding me of this other story that you wrote a few months back. And now, once again, very disjointed, very sudden cut into the world of Harry's fiction, a story about an actor who is out of focus. This actor is played by Robin Williams. We get Robin Williams in this movie, and we can't see him because he is out of focus for the entire time that he is on screen, because that's what the story is about. The story is about an actor who can't work because he himself is out of focus. And one of the story ends when the doctor trying to diagnose him can't find anything wrong, and so instead he gives everyone in his family glasses for them to wear so that they can see their father in focus. And that's what, and then it immediately jumps back to the therapist going like, I think this is more about you than you even realizes, because that's who you are. You are someone who insists everyone else around you adjust their way of seeing you instead of you coming into focus or whatever. So, again,
Which, that whole sequence, it was, it hit me in a very particular way seeing a Robin Williams performance for the first time after he died and seeing it out of focus. So it's like watching a Robin Williams performance for the first time but still not being able to see it.
I see what you're saying.
And having that after he died, that was like just the weirdest and wildest and craziest attachment to think about how he exists in my life today. He's here, but he's not here.
Right.
Like that. I
kind of a ghost. Like it's almost like a ghost story of Robin Williams, who is in his own way kind of a ghost to our whole art form here. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That hurt. That hurt in a weird way that I just wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
You ready?
I guess it didn't affect me so much because I guess I had
You were
seen it
ready for
before. Yeah, I had seen the movie a couple times before. When I first saw it in the theaters, he was still very much alive. It was just kind of like a happy surprise, like, oh yeah, Robin Williams is in this one, cool. So yeah,
It's different now.
yeah, I guess that's true. Did you ever see weird tangent? Did you ever see The Crazy Ones?
Mm-mm.
It was the TV show he did with Sarah Michelle Gellar. It was on for one season. It was basically the
Oh, I
last thing he
remember
did before.
hearing about it, but yeah, I never watched it.
It was the last thing he did before he died.
Hmm.
It was.
I don't know if I could watch it.
Mm,
I'd cry the whole
it was
damn
good.
time. I know myself, man. I have so much love for that man. That would hurt.
Okay, I mean, I feel you there, but yeah, it was pretty good. So yeah, so now we get another, so now he's trying. He's following his therapist's advice, and he's trying to appeal to his ex-wife to let him take his kid to see him be honored at the college. This ex-wife is played by Kirstie Alley, who right out of the gate you can see she hates him. She fucking despises him. Not even just your usual like ex-wife spite. Like, she is clearly holding back the urge to murder him there in the streets for having the audacity to show his face. She absolutely hates him.
And Kirstie Alley
And
kills that role every single time.
of course, yes, 100%. And he tries to appeal to her. He's like, he needs to have a relationship with his father and all this and that. And she's like, no, no, no. She's like, I heard what you did like last time when you took him to parent teacher day at the school. Cut to
Oh,
parent teacher
yeah.
day at the school. and
Dad,
and
why doesn't
he's
my penis look like yours?
and he's just going up. He has no filter. He's like, oh, because I'm Jewish. I was circumcised. We chose not to circumcise you, and that's why. And he goes off on a tangent. He's like, back in my day, we used to name our dicks. And you can
Yeah,
see
this dude is so self-involved. He cannot realize how
right.
wrong what he is doing is.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's doing it right there in the middle of the classroom with all the other parents and kids there. We see only one parent reacting. Supposedly, this is the parent that the kid's mom heard about this from, because she's constantly you're seeing her reaction on everything he says. Played by Muriel Hemingway, who has been the star of a couple of Woody Allen movies in the past. So they work together. And so for her to have such a small role in this one as just, shocked face lady is kind of interesting, I think.
Yeah, but there are no small roles.
No, that's true. That is a very good point. Yes. But yeah, so she's every sentence that he says is so audacious. She's constantly turning around going like, my God, what are you saying to this child? And it's true. He is saying ridiculous things. To be fair, on a couple of things I kind of agreed with. When his kid says, I would name my penis Dillinger, and Woody Allen says, that is genius. That's the best name you could give your penis. Name. He's right. I 100% agree right there. Like, it's hard to admit that, yes, this, absolute garbage bag of a father, I agree with him on that one point.
Just reminds me of that scene from Varsity Blues.
Didn't see it.
Oh. I know that's another one of those, like, you're not a big sports movie guy,
right.
Everything like that. That's another one of those Remember the Titans.
Oh, I see. Okay. Again, yeah, I've been lied to and robbed of something.
It's another one of those.
Okay.
I mean, it's a lot less. This one is more football. It is definitely more football. But there's a hefty... The story's about painkillers, drugs, the pressures of that kind of... of being in sports. Like, where Remember the Titans was about racism, this is about the pressures of succeeding.
I see. Okay. Maybe someday I'll give it a shot then. Yeah.
Maybe. Hey, maybe that'll be our sports movie of this season.
Oh, okay. Hey.
We haven't done one yet.
No, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a good point. All right. So,
but then when they cut to that therapist and this one, Demi Moore.
Right. Yes. It takes us a minute too. Like, I remember, like, it wasn't until later on we don't realize the connection, because we see all this play out and then immediately it cuts to this story that is, again, it's Stanley Tucci playing, Woody Allen. He's the Woody Allen stand-in, and he's talking to his therapist, played by Demi Moore. We don't realize until way later on that this is that wife, the wife that he's just now had this conflict with. This is their story. And that story is that she was his therapist, and he made absolutely no bones about telling her in therapy that he was into her.
Yeah. Oh my God, the way that story shakes out though.
Whoa. Yeah. It's kind of amazing. Leading up to one of what I think is one of the funnier scenes of the movie. And so we got Woody being played by Stanley Tucci. We've got Kirstie Alley being played by Demi Moore. And we're seeing this, she got, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop being your therapist. We're going to wait a few months. And if we still feel this way, then let's start dating. So they start dating. She's constantly psychoanalyzing his stories. He loves that for some reason. Even though she never has anything nice to say, she's like, you can tell by reading this that you're a miserable, miserable person. And he's like, yeah, you get it.
Yeah, no, it is a very strange dynamic, but I I saw that as being the one that would probably have worked the best.
Probably yes, if not for the fact that he is who he is, and he starts sleeping with her patients.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and he blames it on her becoming like once she becomes a mother, she became Jewish with a vengeance.
Right, that's right. Yes, in his story, and yeah, I had
Which I
forgotten about
really want to
that.
know in the Jewish community if that is a saying for Jewish moms. I really, because I mean, Woody Allen wrote it.
Right, yeah, exactly. But yeah, in the story, they have a kid, and when she becomes a mother, she decides that she's become going to become very very religious, and they even play it for comedy. It shows her saying a quick Jewish blessing over his penis just before giving him a blowjob. That that's
I,
comedy gold right there. I
I want to
whatever
know.
say
I
what
want
you
to
will.
know if that's real. I want to know. I want to
Say
know.
what you will about Woody
Oh,
Allen. That was comedy gold.
that was brilliant. That was I don't use that. I don't use the B word that often, but that was absolute brilliance.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And so yeah, and now but we don't get that whole story. We get we see
How many viewers
the
do we have? Can I make this joke live? Fuck it. No, the insinuation that she prays does mean that she does swallow, so I
You
said
lucked
it.
out
I'm
there,
probably
yeah.
gonna cut it out, but I had to
That
say it.
right, yeah. You got to figure, hey, if it's a little, we thank this Lord for our bounty. I'd put up with that if that's what I knew was coming.
Good food, good meat, good God, let's eat.
That's right. There you go.
No, man, no. Oh man. No, but then this is
And
okay.
now
This is
now
where
we've
like
turned into Woody Allen, so we're gonna get canceled now.
uh, you gotta be somebody before you get canceled.
You're correct. Yes, that's true.
No, but then this is where Bob Balaban shows up.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So now, yeah, we get that little quick rundown of a marriage. We don't know it's her. We don't see how it really shakes out. We just see her becoming super Jewish. And then again, a very sudden cut of Harry's just walking, minding his own business down the road. And then all of a sudden, yeah, Bob Balaban runs up to him. He's like, "Hey, Harry, how you doing? What are you up to? And what are you doing?" And he's just, and we're just like, "I'm just minding my own business. What are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, I was on my way to the hospital. I've got chest pains and my arm hurts." And he's like, "What? You're having well, it can't be that bad if you're just stopping to talk to me in the streets." And he's like, "Yeah, well, you know, my brother and my father both died of heart attacks." And Woody Allen's like, "Call an ambulance, man. What are you talking to me for?" Like it is a very weird, like you get these moments where it's like you feel like Woody's like, I need to have an interaction between these two characters. How do I start it? What fucking reason would they have to be talking to each other? I'll tell you what. Let's just have him walk up to him in the middle of a heart attack in the streets of New York. Because I
But
guess
that
in New York that makes sense.
but that's real life though. Like that's the thing. Like when you're expecting to run into somebody, they don't automatically start talking about the thing that you expect them to talk about. People like come in and they say whatever the hell is just going on in their life. So
No, it's
the
true, yeah.
the aspect of actually being able to tap into just ridiculousness and make those situations come to life,
Yep.
I think that is a tremendous gift.
Yep. But then we do get that kind of like a couple of one. We get a couple of 1-2 setups here, and another very common life joke of life where he takes his friend to the hospital. He's reassuring him, "You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine." You and I both at the same time, like we were both going like at the moment that Woody Allen's telling his friend, "I'm sure everything's fine. You're going to be fine." We were like, "Okay, cut to a funeral." Nope, that didn't that didn't happen. That didn't
I was
happen
ready
in
for
this.
that.
Instead,
Yeah.
yeah. But instead, cut to the doctor going, "You're fine. Nothing wrong with you. You're okay. Hey, have a good day." And as they're leaving the hospital, Woody's saying to the guy, he's like, "Hey, by the way, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm going to this college to get honored as a writer, and I got no one to go with. Do you want to come with me?" And their friend's like, "I'm busy tomorrow." It's like, motherfucker, he just took you to the hospital for your heart attack, and
Yeah,
you're
the
like,
needy
"I'm
buddy
busy for
becomes
your
the
thing."
selfish buddy in a freaking heartbeat.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yes. And it's like, and even then, when, we were watching it, you and I both were going like, We all have that guy. We all have got that guy in our life. We all have that one friend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, my great surprise of this one was the very next scene when it's like, Elizabeth Shue is in this?
Right. Yes. Not only is Elizabeth Shue in this, but she's like really like she's you can see she's still kind of in love with Woody Allen's character, like she's the hot young thing who has to sit there and be romantic with Woody Allen, which is a thing in every Woody Allen movie, but it's like in this movie it's Elizabeth Shue, Academy Award winner Elizabeth Shue. But she's the one that got away. She's the younger woman that he left his last wife for, and now she's left him for what we find out later on is Billy Crystal, and she's
The devil.
basically right. And so and that yeah, that's why Harry writes about him as the devil because of that.
I
So
love
she's
that thing that
basically
they brought in later where he keeps talking about, like, every time that guy's around, I swear I smell sulfur.
right,
And then there
exactly,
was an actual moment where he's like, do you smell sulfur? Like, I was like, wait a minute,
right,
that was
yes,
real?
yeah,
I thought he was just playing, but no, apparently, no. Okay,
yep,
like that was another one of those moments, but that was another one of those moments that made me think he was dead.
right, exactly, yes, yep. Yeah, once you pointed that out and I watched it again, I'm like, oh yeah, no, they dropped a lot of clues on that. Brad's onto something here. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so this is where she's having dinner with him to basically tell him that the guy that she's getting married. The guy that, she left him for, they're getting married. They're getting married tomorrow, and she wants his blessing for some
For
reason.
what reason do you
I
need
I
an ex-boyfriend's blessing?
I
What?
don't know. I don't know. That one I don't know. I mean, I've seen this in movies before where it's like some sort of like confronting your past. If the guy is a friend and he's going to be around, you kind of at least want to know he's not going to be trouble or something like that. I don't know. I've never gotten it. Certainly, no one's ever asked my permission to marry one of my exes. I know that. So, um, I
Nope.
don't know how I don't know how close to real life it is, but I have seen it in other movies before. It's a weird thing that it's a thing to create drama of some kind.
I guess
Um,
if like best friends, old friends, like something like that, where like there's friction and you're hoping that there's a chance to make the friction go away, I could see that,
yeah,
but I didn't see it here.
there may also be, to be fair, now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm actually pondering it, there may also be a matter of self-defense on this because we have had it firmly established that Harry writes about the people in his lives.
Oh, that's a good point.
So
That is a
maybe
good
they
point.
want
So
to they
get
want to
ahead of
make
it.
sure he doesn't, yeah, they want to get him right in the head about them being together so they don't end up in his next book like his freaking,
That's
his
a good
ex-wife's
point.
sister did. Yeah.
I didn't think about that at all.
So there is that. Now that I've thought about it, that actually does make sense. They never say anything like that. They are totally, but that explains why they are uncannily nice to him. Like every time these
Yeah,
two are showing up on screen together, they are really, really nice to him,
they are
way more than they
handling
need to
him.
be. Yeah.
That is what
So
they are
that
doing. I,
that's
I, I see that now that
probably
you say that. Yeah.
yeah.
Good
So
call.
yes. So now, yeah, there you go. Now it makes sense. Probably just me trying to make sense of it. Maybe Woody didn't even think about that when he wrote it. Maybe he was just like, and this is a thing that happens. It's,
As
and
weird of a guy as he is, people might actually treat him that way because of his movies and they don't want to be represented. I really actually think that you're very much onto something there.
so yeah, and he doesn't even realize that that's why it's happening. Yeah.
But then, Cookie.
Then we meet Cookie. Less racially fetishized, but still a hooker. Still very
Oh,
much a
oh,
hooker.
oh, maximum hooker.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, and they never change it. She wears that same hooker outfit throughout the entire movie.
Well, I mean, she
and
shows up and then gets in a car and then goes to a second location, which don't ever go to a second location.
that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot outside the realms of professionalism going on here. But yeah, so this is where we meet Cookie, his new hooker. And it's, I mean, some jokes. He's trying to describe to her what he wants done. It's a little awkward. but
Oh,
they
it
seem
is
to.
very, very important to get the order right. He has to
Right,
be
yeah,
tied up first, then gets hit, then gets the oral. Very, very
right,
important.
right. It's got to get the order right, or yeah, he literally says, "Got to get the order right, or it's no fun."
Dude's got taste. He knows what he wants, but
That's
that
yep.
thing he says to her immediately after, like as soon as they
You,
cut to the next scene.
your lips should be in the Smithsonian.
I mean, hell of a compliment, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? Yeah, but yeah, so they hit it off right away. They're actually, it's not, they're getting along even beyond the, the whole, business transaction. They seem to get along pretty well, and so he invites her to go with him to the college, and and offers her $500 for the day to do it, and she accepts.
Yeah, there were some very quotable
Yeah.
lines in that sequence, but I'm not quoting any of them. I get dicey sometimes, but I'm not straight up stupid.
Mm-hmm. Although I did like where the scene ended when he's offering her the $500 to go with him, and he pulls a wad of cash out to start counting the money out to give her right there. And she says, "What are you doing with so much cash on you?" And he says, "Oh, I always have hooker money in the house. One time I tried to pay with a check, and the IRS almost killed me."
There are so many lines in this movie that there were some that I missed.
Yeah, yep.
I missed that one. But then when he tries to, or either he successfully drunk dials his ex, or he accidentally does and then calls needy buddy. I wasn't
Right.
really sure
Well,
on
we're
that one.
we're not really sure. We only see him on the phone. We see him drunk, probably also on pills at the same time. It's interesting because they're constantly referring to him as being a pill popper. We never actually see him take any pills, so we're just kind of assuming he's on them all the time, I guess. So he's drunk, he's high, he's drunk dialing the ex. He's still saying, like, he's telling her, "Don't get married. I still love you. Don't get married." Um, and that's
Well, there's end of the story of the cheating, new cheating, and that whole
that's
elevator setup.
right. Yes, no, because he's saying in the phone, he was like, "I was thinking about how you and I first met," and we get that in the story. And apparently, that story is in his book that just came out because it marks the end of his affair with the ex-wife's sister,
Hmm.
because he was on his way to go cheat on his wife with his ex-wife's sister, going to meet her at a hotel, and he meets Elizabeth Shue in the elevator of that hotel, which probably one of my favorite part. Not like my favorite part of this movie. Like, we haven't gotten there yet to what I think is the funniest part in the movie. But one of the things that I remember the first time I saw this movie really, really stood out. Whenever I thought of this movie, this was like the first scene I thought about, which is while they're in the elevator, we're cutting back and forth consistently of what happened in real life versus what happened in the book that Harry wrote about these events. And we're seeing, like, in one scene we're seeing I can't remember the actress's name who actually plays the sister, but it's like cutting back and forth between her
That was
and
Amy Irving,
Kirstie
wasn't
Alley.
it?
That was Amy Irving. Okay, so yeah, we're seeing Amy Irving and Kirstie Alley, or not Kirstie Alley, Julia Louise Dreyfus, waiting for him in the hotel room at the same time. It's like constantly cutting between them, and then we see the guy who's like in the story, Woody Allen. He's a very tall, very charismatic guy, versus in real life he's Woody Allen. Getting into the elevator, and then there's a bit where while they're in the elevator, and Elizabeth and the fake Elizabeth Shue character is recognizing him and going like, "Oh yeah, how you doing?" And then all of a sudden the elevator stops and gets stuck, and you see the fake Elizabeth Shue character and the fake Harry Block character both kind of panic for a second. Oh, what's going to happen? And then immediately cuts to Woody Allen and Elizabeth Shue in the elevator, and Woody Allen saying, "Well, if this is one of my books, then the elevator would get stuck between floors and we'd start having an affair right here."
A hell of a pickup line, apparently.
Yeah, because it works, because the very next scene after that is the two of them dancing in the hotel bar together, and him and falling in love while his mistress is still waiting for him in the hotel room upstairs.
cheating on cheating on cheating, man. Like it
Yeah,
just
like
it went. But
layers
that but
upon
that
layers of
warning.
asshole.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
warning, like you can't fall in love with me. I'm not gonna be good. I'm just gonna
right.
it's gonna go bad. I'm
Yeah,
gonna fall out of love with. Like he gives her full warnings, and eventually
he
she listens to him, and he's like, "Why did you listen to me?"
right.
Just
Yeah, no,
what a
he
wow.
gives her right on their first date. He tells them, "You can't fall in love with me. I'm gonna be terrible to you. Like it's a, I'm a bad person, And he tells her, and yeah, and so let's see, where were we here? So now, again, more disjointed editing and cutting here as we're jumping back and forth between the past, the present, and the stories, and now we're in the he's heading to the car to with Cookie to start the drive, and as he's heading to the car, all of a sudden his needy friend shows up. The guy he took to the hospital is there, and he's like, hey, yeah,
Yeah,
you called me
you
last.
drunk called me last night. Don't you remember?
Right. Yeah. You called me last night and we said we'd meet up at 7 o'clock right here. It's seven. And yeah, Woody Allen's like, okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming. I don't remember that conversation at all. Okay. And while they're driving, the guy, he's saying like, well, this is great. You're both coming with me. I just wish my son was here. And needy friend goes like, you could just kidnap him. And
And
so
that's what they do.
that's what they do. They drive up to the kid's school. Just as he's getting out of his carpool to go to school, grabs the kid and puts him in his car. Muriel Hemingway is there again, screaming bloody murder. Kid, he's getting kidnapped. Somebody stop him. And you and I were both commenting at the time. Muriel Hemingway absolutely could take Woody Allen. Like the fact
He's
that he gets away with the kid while Muriel Hemingway is sitting there trying to stop him, and he manages to wrestle away from her and get the kid away. The farthest from reality moment this entire
no,
movie.
she could have snapped him like a twig.
Absolutely. So, like,
No, that yeah, okay. No, I'm actually
that's the
very
that's
much with you on that.
yeah, that is the most suspension of disbelief moment you need in this entire movie. And this movie includes a lot, but that's the
That
one
it
you really
does.
got to that's the one you really got to work on because somehow Woody Allen doesn't get his ass completely handed to him by Muriel Hemingway.
Over and over and over again. But then cutting to that scene where they don't like, cutting to the scene where another wife just doesn't want kids, and she starts accusing him of wanting her sister, and this dude just
Oh
gaslighting,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
gaslighting, gaslighting.
Starts shit talking the sister, like talking about how unattractive she is, and it's like, and because we've seen enough of the movie now to know this probably right after the first scene in the movie, like he just had sex with her sister, with her right outside the room while he's saying that to her. So yeah, like that's how
No, this
shameless this
guy is
dude
scummy,
is.
scummy.
Yeah. Um, oh yeah. We get to that because yeah, he stops at a carnival. Like after kidnapping the kid, they drive for a little while, and the kid's starting to ask questions. The kid's starting to ask like, "Well, hey, does mom know that I'm doing this?" And that's when Woody Allen goes, "Oh, hey, there's a carnival over there. Let's go." So he's actively gaslighting the kid too while he's at it, and that's why they're at the carnival. And while they're at the carnival, he's hanging out with Cookie, and he points at a restaurant across the street, and he goes like, "Yeah, right over there is like one of the ways I got in a fight with the wife over here, and that's when he tells the story of her saying like, I don't want to have kids, stop bugging me about having kids, stop looking at my sister, you know, and all that takes place. And while he's telling the story, Cookie's like just smoking a joint right in front of him while he's telling the story, and she keeps offering it to him, and he's like, no, 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 and that stuff. This guy is a raging alcoholic and a pill popper, but he draws the line at weed. And
Apparently.
yeah, and he even like complains about how like he can smell it, and the smoke is like getting in his face, and he's like, no, 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 I can't take it. I need to, and everything that happens to him after this, he blames on her weed. The fact that he was in proximity of her weed, uh, uh, while she was smoking it, he starts having raging hallucinations and blames it on that weed. I find it hard to believe that Woody Allen has never smoked pot, but he clearly hasn't, because there is no strain in the world that does that. We have invading cats.
Yeah, sorry about that. The thing that I have covering the power button for the computer, the cat knocked it off, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not
Oh,
running I'm
man.
not running that risk.
He's determined to get at that thing some days, it seems.
Sometimes, I swear. But
Uh,
see, yeah, the converse, and then like the hallucination where he starts like hallucinating his characters, calling him out on his own behavior.
right,
He's
yeah.
like,
Well,
"I'm
which
not
is
your
it,
shrink. He only knows what you tell." Or he's like, "I'm not your shrink. He only knows what you tell him. I'm you."
right,
So those
exactly, yeah.
hallucinations start going heavy.
Right, yeah, exactly. And he confronts him about his like the hardcore bullshit. Like you can't, you're blaming, you blamed that argument, the argument you just told Cookie about. You blamed it on the fact that your wife was on her period at the time, and that's why she was being unreasonable. His own character says, "You piece of shit, that's obviously bullshit." Like, and Woody Allen sitting there going like, "I'm not going to sit here and be lectured by a fictional character."
The problem is, none of his characters are fictional. And that's what really kind of hammers that home.
Yeah, exactly. Um, oh yeah, and then and that's when his character reminds him. He's like, "You're leaving out like the effects you have," and he's like, "What you never saw." Or no, wait, was that this ghost? No, no, he actually does get visited by another one. Like a little bit after that, he gets visited by Demi Moore. Demi Moore also shows up, and that's where she tells him about the she's like, "You didn't see how she reacted to finding out that you left your wife. Like when you left your wife for Elizabeth Shue, you also were leaving Julia Louise Dreyfus, and you never saw that. You never saw the fallout of that. And so we actually get to see the first like godlike perspective
And this
of
scene like is a
yes,
masterclass in reaction.
it really is. It was like we're talking like this should have been one of those Oscar award winning moments. There's a lot of Oscar moments in Woody Allen movies. There's been a few Oscar winners for Woody Allen. This was one of them. Should have been talked about more. Where the wife is telling her sister he's left me. He said he's met someone else. The sister's getting nervous and is like getting ready to confess, basically getting ready to say, "Go look, shit happens. It didn't mean it." And I'm so, like, she's getting ready to basically say, like, "I'm sorry for stealing your husband." And then the wife says, like, "Yeah, I'm getting replaced by a 25-year-old." And that's when the sister just what like, and we see just these waves of emotions and just the dizzying effect of her coming to realize what's happened. And the wife even like says, like, she's like, you're being so frantic, you'd think he broke up with you." And she finally literally faints. She passes out from it because she can't even talk about it. She can't even say, she
No,
can't even
she's in
react to this
such a
properly.
corner that like she's screwed. Like that was crazy.
Exactly, yeah. um and So yeah, now we're out of that flashback. We're back on the road, and Woody is still trying to stop the wedding. He's on a car phone now, calling, saying like, "Tell her to call me. I'm on the car phone. She has the number. Tell her I said don't get married." Like he's still he's still doing this. Sad. It would be sad if it wasn't so funny, which is an actual commentary of the movie that they actually say out loud at the end. And
Which kind of hammers home a few different Woody Allen movies.
this is very true. Also true. So now the kid's like still complaining about being stuck in back of the car for too
But hold
long,
on,
and so
no, no,
he's
no,
like,
no,
"Oh,
no. We can't like there's that line that like they're talking about like you're too old for. Is like I know I'm too old.
right,
Or no, he's too
oh,
old. I'm much too old.
right, that's right, yeah." He's saying she can't marry him. He's too old for her, and they're like, "You're older than him." He's like, "Yeah, I'm much too old for her." Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a line that had me laughing for quite a while. We've been on this one for a little bit over an hour. Are you down to take a little bit of a break?
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that. You need a break?
Yeah, I could use one. We still have about a page and a half of this one, so I
Okay,
think I could take a quick one.
okay, I'm down for that.
All right,
See
we'll
you in
be
5, folks.
back in about 5.
What was that?
We'll be back in 5.
Yeah.
Ooh. Be right back, guys. All right, and Doc will be back any moment. I probably should have taken that drink before unmuting myself. Sorry. Cat. All right, where are we at on this? Okay. We got little ways to go, but this movie is a lot of movie. I am curious for the viewers that we have. What have you seen Deconstructing, Harry? And what was your favorite part, if that's the case? Will say this: I don't know. We like this is a movie channel for the most part, but at the same time, you would think, considering the fact that this is a movie channel, that I would have seen a lot more Woody Allen films, but I just haven't. Sorry, guys, I don't know what's taking Doc so long. But I'm sure he'll be back any second now. I need to have something to do in the in between times. Here
Okay.
he is.
Yes, I'm back. I was reminded as I was
Mm-hmm.
taking my break, and I was taking, I was doing my usual kind of like kind of moment,
Mm-hmm.
I was reminded of another Woody Allen joke from another movie years ago that was a out of the blue cameo from Jeff Goldblum in one of his movies. And the scene is, I don't even remember which Woody Allen movie this was, but the scene is that he's at a dinner party, he's at some party, he's walking around doing his usual walk and talk thing. And
Right.
at the end of the scene, he and the character he's talking to walk off. The whole time that this scene's going on, you can see someone in the background on the phone. And when they walk away, that person finally turns around and faces the camera, and it's Jeff Goldblum. He's on the phone, and you hear him say, "Hey, I need your help. I've forgotten my mantra." End scene.
And which flick was this?
I don't remember. I don't. It's some. That's the thing is like there is a point in time where all the Woody Allen movies become one big movie because they are all the same. They're just Woody Allen stand-up comic made into a series of events in movies. I
Yeah, kind of.
do not remember which one this is, but yeah, that's one of those little things where like I still to this day, anytime I see Jeff Goldblum on screen, the first thing I think of is I've forgotten my mantra. Like, and I was just
Nice.
reminded of it just now as I'm sitting here going like, okay, shake it off. I've forgotten my mantra. Like,
Doesn't matter
yeah,
in the end, right?
I guess, yeah.
All right,
I
you
should
ready?
cross stitch that. I should write that down as a cross stitch. I should have I've forgotten my mantra up on the wall.
I don't think it's a bad one.
No. I've been thinking about like maybe even like selling patterns. I don't know if I'm, if I do, I want one more thing that I'm never going to get around to in my life.
What do you say, man?
All right, yeah.
You ready for the
Hold on a second.
last?
Try to speed run it. I mean, it's kind of it's tough to not want to delve into all the little hints and symbolism in here, but man,
Hey,
like
welcome to my challenge. We've crossed over into over 3 hours now, and we still have over 2 pages left.
has it been? No, it's only been like 2.5 hours.
No, we started early.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, if we're including our warm up time, yeah, I guess we've been about 3 hours. Okay, well. Hey, we are making some content, aren't we?
Plenty to
So,
edit.
yeah. So the kid complains about being stuck in the car again, and so now Woody's like, well, hey, my sister lives right over here. Let's go visit my sister. We'll say hi. She hasn't seen you forever. Let's go visit the sister. So we show up at the sister's house. This is where we find out that the Jewish with a vengeance of his wife in the story was actually his sister. She's
Well,
mad at
but
him.
before
She's
that
mad.
though,
Oh, right.
because
Okay.
this sets up that he's heading over there. But we cut to Shu being supportive, and all that was wrong thing for him. Nothing is the right thing for him. He is the boy in the story that can't love. Part of like
Right.
her
Okay.
like shredding him to pieces and all that. And Shu was warned, but still doesn't know why. I bet the question is the power.
Right.
Like
Okay.
that was kind of
Right. I
like the whole thing. Like I bet I can fix him. I just don't know what it is. Everything like that. There was this whole scene about that, and he likes baseball more than women because baseball has rules and is understandable.
Right. Yeah.
And then
Yeah. I
like
had
in the
forgotten about that whole
perfect
flashback. Yeah.
moment, like the perfect moment to showcase what kind of a perfect partner she is for him, she
Yeah.
gives him a baseball that was
Yeah.
signed. Like she had a gift ready for
So,
that. Like that was crazy.
yeah. And I think he even says like it was like the team, it was the team of the year of like one of his favorite games growing up as a kid. She like really hunted down something that would be treasured by him when he got it for sure. Like so, yeah. We're kind of seeing a moment as to like why he's so in love with her because she really was truly good to him. You know. Um, but yeah, it
Too
just kind of
like
makes it.
too good
Yeah,
is wrong, for a guy
that's
like
the
that.
thing. Exactly. Yeah. Which kind of is a callback to another movie from Woody years ago, another one called Annie Hall, where the movie
Oh yeah.
literally starts with him. With him telling the screen, like the movie starts with him facing the camera, telling the screen, and saying, "I equate my love life to an old quote from Groucho Marx, where he said." I would never want to join any club that would have someone like me as a member. Yeah. And so here we are many years later, another movie, more honesty, and him basically, we're seeing the moment where he realizes she is too good. He cannot be with her. Yeah.
And that yeah. It says a lot about that. But that's when we cut over to visiting his sister, played by Caroline Aaron, and her husband, played by Eric Bogosian, who
Mm-hmm.
crushed it on the
He
AMC
really did.
series Interview with a Vampire.
Is he in that? Okay.
He
I was
plays
th-
the
I was
Christian
thinking you
Slater
were saying
role.
oh, nice. Okay. So I thought you were going to say he was crushing it here, and I thought he
Oh,
did that as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's the
Yeah.
thing about him. He always does.
That's
But
true. That's
like,
true.
for like the probably his current most famous role is playing the interviewer in Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah. Okay.
And my
Hmm.
God, perfect,
Okay.
freaking perfect. Just wanted
You
to
have
put
you
that in
have
there.
mentioned before that I should check that out, and I have not yet ruled it out.
The horror aspect of it is there, but it's not the prevalent thing. So I think how beautiful the story is and how well the story is told, I think that overcomes the horror aspect.
Okay, yeah, and maybe I will check it out. I
I
was
think
able to get through
that's
the
like Anne
entire.
Rice's thing, though.
Yeah, I was able to get through the entire From Dusk Till Dawn series, so I could probably handle this. So
Yeah, definitely,
yeah,
definitely, yeah, absolutely.
which was also pretty fucking good, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so now now his sister's confronting him. Everybody else he's written about is confronting him, and she's basically saying like, look, I'm not stupid. I know when you wrote about your wife in that book and you talked about her being Jewish with a vengeance, you were actually talking about me. You needed your readers to hate her, so you made her into me because you hate me. Like that's what you did. Like and he's like, don't be no, like, and he's not even like doing a good job at gaslighting her on this one. He's just like, no, you're being ridiculous. Don't be like, no, I would never.
Yeah, no, terrible
He's
person.
not even coming up with a good lie on that one. Just he's caught. He's and then we get another clip of a short story. She's confronting him about another story he wrote. This one he wrote about their father. Um, right, because they keep dropping hints about his bad relationship with his dad. It turns out she's his half sister because his mother died in childbirth, and his father was basically a dick to him his entire life because of that. Basically saying like you killed your mother, like treating him like so. Okay, maybe we can see why Harry's a piece of shit. His father was too. Obviously, these things happen, you know. But he gets revenge on his dad by writing a short story about him, which basically accuses him of murdering and eating an entire family, you know.
Right.
And okay, I mean, there's
I think this
worse
was my
things.
favorite part of the movie.
It was because it was weirdly ridiculous. Because yeah, you get the scene where the second wife finds out about everything and confronts him and is just like, "You murdered an entire family and you ate them." And the stand-in for Harry's father is this a man. I don't know how to describe him other than to say he looks like the Muppet version of himself. He's just this big, doughy, just furry faced dude, very very Jewish grandfather looking guy, and he's just sitting there going like, look, some people bury, some people burn, I eat, you know.
My favorite character. Just how like he immediately owns up to it. Like there's no denial. Or no, I was expecting some kind of denial or what are you
Right,
talking about? What have you gone crazy, woman? Nothing.
right,
He's like, nah, no, I ate her.
yeah.
Loved it. Loved that. That was hands down the best part of the movie for me. Then cutting over to being busted about having an affair with a patient, and from his
Oh,
wife, the one played by Kirstie Alley.
right, yes, we cut to this and hold on. There it is, sorry. I got distracted by my addiction, sorry.
Ah, gotcha.
So yes, this was my favorite scene of the movie, was when we finally get to see how their marriage really ended. It wasn't because she became Jewish with a vengeance. It's because she caught him sleeping with her patients. Well, I say caught. They're her patients, so they told her in therapy that they were sleeping with her husband. And,
Kind of an expected twist,
right,
I guess. But the fact that that dude was sitting there, like shows up for therapy, then goes and sits
right,
down, and like she is like in and out of the room having the fight,
right.
and then just decides not to leave the room to epically freak out. Good God, what a moment!
I loved that. Yeah, like that's the part where like in the whole movie, those were my biggest laughs. Were her, you know, trying to have a therapy session with a patient while still berating Harry for his affair. Like, excuse me one second. Like he's sitting there going like, so I'm feeling these very anxious moments. You know, I'm feeling rejected by this. You know, and she's like, one second, leaves the room. He can hear her going, "You son of a bitch, piece of shit," da, 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 and then comes back and she goes, "All right, please continue." And that just keeps happening until finally the last one is she doesn't even leave the room. She just screams profanities at him from sitting right next to him. Comedy gold. Again, comedy gold. Say what you will about Woody Allen. He deserves all of it, but that is comedy gold. Yes.
No, that was absolutely fantastic.
um, all right, yeah. Hold on, I got to go to the notes because there's so much time jumping in this movie. I can't remember what comes next.
Demi Moore shows up to call him out even further, the shrewish Jewish hybrid of his ex and his sister that acts as the ghost of mystery present. And speaking of the gift of Hilly, the child.
Right, right. Yes. Which, yeah, and then that's when we get like our introduction to Billy Crystal's character. You know, she's good with the kid. On top of like we're seeing everything we see of Elizabeth Shue is how wonderful she is. She's also good with the kid. So he's at the toy store with his kid, and she's there, and she's like, "Oh, I found the chemistry set that you wanted." That, you know, and the kid loves her. Having a great. And then Billy Crystal shows up out of nowhere. Now, I get this is a Woody Allen movie, but Billy Crystal's character does not appear to have kids. So why did they run into him at the toy store?
Gift for a nephew, for a coworker. There's a million reasons something like that.
I do love how that is the persistent thing in all Woody Allen movies is that you run into people in just the most random places, which I guess is a thing in New York. He lives in New York.
Come
in New
on,
York,
man! Stop saying New York. That's literally everywhere. You go to a place, you're running it. I don't think you know enough people then.
Oh, okay. That was a hurtful thing to say.
Come on. Every time you talk about going someplace, you go to a place that is really far away from the place that you live. But anytime that I'm running errands, like I think like I didn't know that many people in Portland. So I never ran into anybody. But like when it comes to like my hometown back in North Dakota, no, you'd be picking up something from a hardware store that you practically forgot even existed. And then it just so happens that somebody that you haven't seen in like 15 years is looking for something in that same store. Like, no, that happened a lot.
Okay. All right. I just assumed it was something that was like, if you have a high population place like New York, then it is more likely for that kind of stuff to have happened. I wasn't saying like some kind of.
I don't see how that makes sense, though. It seems like a higher population place, you have a lower chance of running into somebody. But what they say about New York is basically everybody lives and like exists on one block. Whatever block you live on, that's like where everything happens.
Okay, yeah, that must be nice. Well, I wouldn't. Oh,
it's super convenient, but at the same time, like, kind of a hollow existence. Like when I talk, like speaking of Portland, like talking to people when I lived in Portland who had never ever left the city of Portland.
Oh, that's a little weird. I'll give you that. Yeah.
This is the same type of thing. It's like your life is not as big as it should be. That's kind of where I'm saying.
Okay.
But that's where I guess that kind of crosses into something because yeah, if you spend your whole life. Your grocery store, like the 10 different restaurants are all on a block that you have all this different variety, or you could just cross the street and have a whole new experience. Like when you have those kind of options, you really don't have to go that far. So you probably do see the same people over and over and over again.
I suppose that is true. Yes, that would make sense. Yes. Hold on, I'm writing something down for the after hour.
Uh-huh. You really never run into anybody when you run errands in your town? Like nobody you know?
I can think of once that it happened. I can think of one time that it ever happened, and it only stands out in my mind because it was someone who I didn't want to run into, and it was an extremely awkward situation.
Crazy.
Yeah.
No, I can think of like I got a million stories of running into people where I didn't expect them. I got one that's just crazy weird, but I'll have to tell you off the air, and then you can tell me if I can tell that story on the air.
Okay. Wait a second. Now that we're talking about it, I am reminded of two other times.
See, I'm thinking like if you keep thinking about it,
they were both the same person. They were both the same person.
All right,
that's a story in and of itself.
All right,
all right. This is someone that I have an epic history with. Yeah.
Okay, we're crossing into after hour territory. All right,
yeah.
Let's see,
where were we? Oh yes. So yeah, here's where we run into Billy Crystal, and where Billy Crystal and Elizabeth Shue meet for the first time. Because
this is where I was talking about the "Do you smell sulfur?" line.
Right. Yeah. Well, because we have the sort of like pseudo Chekhov's gun moment, where it's like, oh, here's the chemistry set your kid wanted, and the kid even starts to kind of like shake it and open it up, and Woody Allen's like, hey, don't open it yet. I got to pay for it first. And then in comes Billy Crystal. We get his introduction. Him and Woody are old friends. They're both writers, and Billy Crystal's character is very world traveled. He's just got back from the Amazon, where they've got what was it, butterflies the size of doves. He said it's amazing, and he invites them out to his place for dinner, and He's very friendly, very personal, very warm and interesting. Literally everything that Woody Allen's not. In fact, they really like kind of like add to it where when he's talking about his world travels, Woody's sitting there going like, I could never do that. I can't travel. The heat and the bugs and the
Oh yeah,
sweating.
no,
No,
he's the
I could.
antithesis of
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, he's like I'm never leaving my house is basically what he's saying. And so it's like it's really putting on, they're really piling up like how Billy Crystal's character so much obviously a better choice for her than him.
Oh
Like we're
God, easily.
seeing it, yeah. And then like after he invites them out to dinner and they're like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. And then all of a sudden Woody Allen goes like, do you smell sulfur? Did you open that chemistry set? Like we
No, it
so that's
became a
our
part of
pet.
the real story, and that was something that I actually really appreciated.
Yeah, yeah. And it was nice that even with all the hints that were dropped along the way, we still didn't see it coming. It was very smoothly done.
Mm-hmm. But then we cut back to the car, and Needy Buddy dies of that heart attack that he mentioned the day before. So
Right.
his father, his grandfather, now him.
Yep. Yeah. And so now he's just and everyone's freaking out. Like they pull over the car, they all jump out, and they're like, "Oh God, what's happening?" There's a panicky moment, and well, what do we do? What they do is they get back in the car and they finish their drive to the college. They pull up to the entrance of the college, greeted by all the faculty with a body in the car. And they just sort of go like, yeah, so maybe call somebody.
Yeah. And then what happens? A great reference to the short story that was mentioned earlier. Woody falls out of focus.
That's right. Yes. He starts panicking. He doesn't know, and it's hard to tell what exactly it is he's panicking about. It seems to be everything at once. It's the fact that he's getting honored and he doesn't think he deserves it. Honestly, that's start one, and he's got to sit there and accept it. His kid probably thinks he's an idiot and an asshole at this point because of all the stuff that's happened just in the drive over here. The woman of his
Pretty
dreams is
reasonable.
getting, yeah, the woman of his dreams is getting married to someone else, and he's confronting the fact that, yeah, he is a piece of shit who has fucked up his own life and he cannot handle it, and so he's going out of focus. We watch him go out of focus, and Cookie, the magical hooker, calms him down, brings him back into focus, talks him down. Is
She is the healthiest and strongest character
she
in this movie.
really she is the most like not just sympathetic character but also the most sympathizing character. She is like she's the angel in this story. If we're sticking with the Jacob's ladder, she's the angel who's there to try and get him to cross over. um she's not that great at her job apparently.
Guess not.
um but yeah, so now he's calmed down. He gets taken out to go walk all the faculty shows up to walk him to the hall where the event is taking place. And this is where we see the whole time this is taking place, there's Paul Giamatti. Like that was the thing, is Paul Giamatti is in the background of all of this. He's one of these faculty members that's taking Harry around the college, but he's always like in the back. Like I'm sure he had a career before this. I don't think this was like his first movie or anything like that, but he's like a background character in this movie for some reason. And I can't figure out why, if you had Paul Giamatti, why would you not use him?
That is a damn
So,
good question.
but yeah, he's there, and it's kind of almost distracting. We're just kind of sitting there going like, oh, there's Paul Giamatti. What's he gonna say? Nothing. Turns out he says nothing. Um,
No, that was a huge letdown to see him and then not hear him.
yeah, exactly. But
The
as he's walking,
that line where he says good reading is a creative act,
mm,
I loved that. Because that is true. You can have your history teacher try to read you an epic fantasy. That's not going to go the way you want it to go.
no, it's true.
You have to that's basically speaking to the performance of voice actors, which I thought that was great.
Hmm.
It wasn't
Yeah.
what he was intending, but I'm
No,
taking it that way.
there is a presentation to it all. Yes.
The next
Um.
the next line,
So yeah.
when they cut into the story and it's a rip on Dante, And we cut
Yes.
to that scene. There's only one thing I really wanted to say about that.
Okay.
Media, sorry, that floor is all filled up.
Which
I
they
really, really like that
put
line.
another dig in later on too, but that which is also good. But yeah, so and now it's actually Woody because he does say before because they're asking, he's telling them about the story he's working on, and this time he's more honest. He confesses and he basically says like it's about this guy who's basically based on me. Who am I kidding? He is me. I don't know why I have the pretext anymore. And so when we cut to where we're actually seeing the short story, this time it is Woody. It's not Stanley Tucci. It's not, anybody else. We actually see Woody riding the elevator down into hell. And yeah, we're seeing, a reference to Dante while the elevator is going down. We hear the lists of all the people, what different circle of hell is for each different people, which I meant to write down so that I could repeat them here, and I didn't.
What? The Circles of Hell?
Yeah, who was in each circle of hell? Like we have
Like
like
which
the
demon?
sec. No, 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 no. Like they basically like as they're going down, it's like you said, it's like floor 7 is for the media and it's full. Like they did like 2 other floors
Oh,
before that.
I thought you were talking about Dante. My bad.
Oh no, 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 no. Yeah, no, I was talking about the reference here. Yeah, where he basically lists like how each groups of people going to hell for how for how deep they are, and yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. And then he finally gets out on the lowest level of hell, where he finds first he runs into the man who invented aluminum siding. That's the first, and then immediately after that his father. Which, by the way,
Which he's
before we get into that,
confused by.
right? Yes. Um, Hell is a poppin', apparently. Woody Allen's version of hell is apparently the world's most epic hot tub party.
Pretty much.
Yeah. The music was great. Everybody, everyone looks miserable, but aside from like the pained look on their faces, they otherwise appear to be having a good time. They're all in a bunch of, they're all in boiling pools of whatever, and they're just kind of sitting there going like, standing
Yeah, not the
around
worst.
with yeah, it's just sort of very very lackluster like version of hell. He finds his father and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And there's a demon there saying like, well, he treated his son like shit, and that's why he's down here. He's the capital sin of blaming his son for his wife's death. And Woody Allen goes, "Oh well, I forgave him. Take him to heaven." And then his father goes like, "I'm Jewish. I don't believe in heaven." And he goes like, "Take him to a Chinese restaurant."
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, that's like, where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Chinese restaurant?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, these stereotypes, they went pretty. Yeah.
Which yeah, because he actually is Jewish is the only reason he gets away with it.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Bonding
then
with Billy Crystal as the devil about the twins and sleeping with their
right,
best friend and Pearl.
yeah,
Pearl in the wheelchair?
that's right. That's where we get to like where Woody Allen's confrontation with the devil. Turns out they've all slept with the same people. and they're actually buddy. He's like, oh yeah, well, and there's even a moment where Woody like kind of has a seat and takes a drink and goes like, it's actually not so bad down here. Like that's kind of the clue in as to like
This is where I
Woody.
thought the end of the movie was going to be. This is where I thought he got shot at the beginning of the movie, and the whole thing was this little trip like down memory lane, and Billy Crystal was going to be the devil, and this was going to be the end of the movie. I 100% felt that. I was floored when it didn't end.
Right, yeah. And it's basically like again we have this clue in as to what Harry Block, the character, genuinely thinks of himself, which is of course a translation of what Woody Allen thinks of himself, which is the reason why he is a militant atheist is because if he thought there was a hell, that's definitely where he's going. It's definitely where he belongs, and he probably would enjoy it.
He's looking forward to it. That's the fantasy that he's in. But like I said, I was surprised when this didn't end because obviously, and then we came back to reality for him to get arrested for kidnapping his own son.
Right, exactly. We don't even get the actual end of the story. It's interrupted when his ex-wife shows up and arrests him for kidnapping his kid. And they're even like, like, hey, he's about to be honored. Can, he even asks, like, can we do the honoring ceremony and then you arrest me? And they're like, no, get in the damn car.
That was a top tier line. But then what
Yeah.
Tony Siriso says right after that in the next scene, like, let me give you
Hmm.
some advice. You're in some deep shit.
Oh, right. Because that's where we find out he's asking for a phone call. He's like, I need to call my lawyer. And he goes like, you already had two phone calls. And he's like, yeah, well, that was to my ex-girlfriend. I needed to try to stop her wedding.
This movie was
Yeah.
a lot. That's what this
They,
movie
oh,
was.
yeah. We get one final hallucination. Well, not the final hallucination, the final hallucination of the story, where his needy friend who just died in the car is now sitting in the jail cell with him, telling him, being dead ain't so bad. You don't have jury duty.
Hey, grass is greener.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And then I
And then,
like this is where my belief was completely suspended.
right, yes, because out of nowhere, suddenly he is bailed out by Elizabeth Shue and Billy Crystal. They literally are like, they just got married and they have stopped on the way to their honeymoon to bail him out of jail and to make one last attempt at getting his blessing. Which, yeah, that seems kind of crazy. That doesn't make any sense unless we are still going with the theory that they really want to make sure he doesn't write about them.
That
Like,
does make a lot of sense. Now that you brought that up, that does make a lot of sense.
yeah,
Again, a treasure of a line from Siriso. Give
right.
him your blessings before I throw you back in that jail and I bugger you. You got Tony
I don't think
Siriso. You use Tony Siriso.
exactly. Yeah, and I don't think anyone could have delivered that line better than him, honestly, because he brought the full like he brought the full Goodfellas, or not Goodfellas,
Sopranos.
Sopranos. Thank you. Yes, he brought the full Sopranos to that line, and it really worked. Even with the police uniform on, it still had that full force of the mob on it.
There is a
Um,
reason that in over 20 years of Family Guy, the only person that ever stood a chance of replacing Brian as the dog was him. Because he played the Italian dog. I think his name was like Vinny, or like they really like went Italian with that dog.
okay, I could see that. I don't think I watched Family Guy for that long. Now that I think about it, why did I stop?
Uh,
I loved that show. Huh.
that season was somewhere around like 2014, 2013.
Huh.
It was a
Guess
while
I was
ago.
busy that year. Yeah. What was I doing in 2014? Huh. That's a good question.
A lot. I
Uh,
remember that year. I remember we were at the gallery. We were pulling a lot of stuff that year. We were pulling
okay.
like 3 or 4 projects, working the gallery stuff, putting the
Okay.
shows
Yeah.
on. No, we
That
had a
was, yeah, I
busy
guess
year
that was
that
a pretty
year.
busy year. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Then back
All
home, they
right.
have a dream about successfully being honored.
Right. Now this is some weird kind of, this is the final hallucination. He's
Yeah.
he's out of jail. He doesn't get his honor. His kid's gone, cookie's gone, his dead friend's gone. He's back home totally alone. But there's all of the faculty from the college waiting for him in his apartment. No, he's hallucinating them now too. And they're saying how much they love him, how much they love deconstructing his work. And they're like, come on, we all want to, they're like, we have to honor you. Everybody's here. And they lead him through a magical doorway where all of his fictional characters are waiting for him. And they're all applauding him and they adore
Like the
him.
end of Scrubs, or
Right.
like one of those other like really long running TV shows like that they
Right.
would do something like
Exactly.
that.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's a like, this dude's clearly dead. He's clearly dead. He died
Oh
at the
no,
beginning of the
we
movie. Yeah.
deconstructed Harry underneath a decomposing Harry. I'm pretty sure.
And just as the moment, and just when you think the Jacob's Ladder moment is going to happen, where he's going to come to terms with his afterlife and move on, instead, that is roughly interrupted by him going, what a great idea for a story. A guy who can only function in art but can't function in life, and quickly sits down at the typewriter and starts typing essentially the intro to the
Is
story
that a
we just
great
saw.
idea for a story, or is that like a quarter of the writers out there?
That is literally just being a writer. Yes, yeah. What he describes there is not a story; it is life for most artistic people out there.
And I
And we
grabbed
get
the what I thought was the most interesting trivia.
okay.
Oh, sorry. Finish up. Sorry.
No, no, that was the end. I was basically going to say, and that's the end. That was all I had left to say. Okay, so let's see what you got here on the trivia. Did you want to run the trivia or should I? I'm reading all of
No.
these for
Your
the first
movie.
time. Okay, all right. So Albert Brooks was the last actor to be offered the role of Harry. Interesting. So it wasn't even going to be Woody playing himself originally. They were going to have Albert playing the Woody stand-in
Yep.
along with a bunch of other Woody stand-ins. Interesting. Okay. In an interview with Playboy magazine, he stated that he received a nice letter from Woody Allen offering him the role, and Brooks responded, "It was insane that Allen didn't do it himself. Apparently, Woody took his advice." Okay. Yeah. Now here's the thing. While Albert is absolutely right there, also I would have loved to see Albert Brooks in that role.
Agreed.
I think yeah.
That would have made it a little bit less creepy, I think.
Probably. Well, and that's the question. Would it have taken it away? Would it have been less of an obvious deconstruction if it was Albert Brooks instead of Woody? Like, would it have been? Okay. All right. Fair point. Yeah. The film is similar to 8.5, that chronicles an artist with a creative block struggling with his current relationships and remembering his old ones, interspersed with dream sequences, as well as it works from being okay.
So pick it up.
I have not seen.
It's kind of a remake, but it's just a twist off of a story. I don't think it's a remake. I think it's just taking the 8.5 storytelling device.
Right, yeah, and I think there's a lot of that going on. I think there's other works we could point to that are, the story of the artist showing where, basically showing where the inspiration comes from. I have a copy of 8.5 that I've never watched. Fuck,
How do you have a copy and you never saw it? That's crazy.
I bought it knowing that I wanted to see it, and it was on sale. And so I was like, oh, I've been meaning to see this movie forever. And so I bought it. And now I don't think I've even taken it out of the plastic yet. Jesus fucking Christ. What is wrong with me?
I wonder if that actually makes it valuable now. But was it shrink wrapped for like a sale?
No. It's a Criterion collection. I bought it directly from Criterion. So it's like literally a limited edition on top of that. Yeah.
Maybe watch it online. Maybe don't open that. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Right. Okay. The film is a general reworking of Woody Allen's earlier Stardust Memories. Okay, I don't think I've seen that one either.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, which also had an artist go to a ceremony in his honor while reminiscing over past relationships, trying to fix and stabilize current ones. Yeah, this is probably a running theme in Woody Allen's life. He gets a lot of awards and a lot of honors, and he probably spends a lot of time asking himself, "Why the fuck does this keep happening?"
That's a really good point. I didn't actually go there, but that's a really,
I did see. This was one of those things that I saw. I did see one documentary about Woody Allen. And in the end of the documentary, they actually showed him receiving an award. Immediately after he received the award, he went home to his parents' house and showed the award to his mother. And while they're talking about it, we can see in the background a shelf of all his other awards. Every award he's ever gotten, every Oscar, every writing award, every award he's gotten is on a shelf in his mom's house. And she's looking at this new award that he just got and basically saying, "Why do you think you're so fucking special? Why did they give you an award? Like, what did you do that was so special?" Like, she literally is shit talking him to his face about the award that is sitting in front of her while there's a shelf full of them right behind her. That is where Woody Allen came from.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy.
Yeah.
These last three were just kind of. I honestly thought the last three would just interest you.
Okay. Jimmy Moore wore a wig in the film because she shaved her head for G.I. Jane. Oh, that is interesting. I thought her hair looked a little weird. I couldn't put my finger on why it looked so different, but now, okay, that explains it. It's a freaking wig. Okay. Because it looks exactly like her natural hair, just a little bit off, A
little bit, like a little bit darker, something. Yeah,
almost,
I noticed that.
Almost a little too perfect, too.
Yep,
it was, yeah. They had to have like gone to a wig store and gotten a Demi Moore wig. Like this was a wig that kids dressing up as Demi Moore for Halloween would buy. That's what they put her on. That's what they put in her.
I, I
And
can see
now it
that.
makes sense. It was an itch on my brain that I couldn't figure out, but now I get it. All right. Jennifer Garner's feature debut film. I missed her completely. Who was she in this movie?
Very, very tiny, tiny role.
I
Just a
guess it
just a
must
bit
have
bit.
been. I guess because yeah, like I remember when I read it before you, I was like, where was Jennifer Garner in this? Like I spotted Paul Giamatti, even though they tried to hide him. I didn't see Jennifer Garner in there. Like,
Next time. Next time.
okay, all right. Elizabeth Rome's film debut.
She was
Oh,
Detective Kate Lockley in
from
Angel, which is
Angel.
why
Okay,
that's why I was
who
thinking
was
this
she in
might.
this?
She was uncredited.
Okay, so she must have had like a deleted scene or something. Huh. Interesting.
I don't know who
Uh,
that is, but because it was Angel, I kind of figured you might because that is like one of like Joss Whedon's earlier ones.
yeah.
So I kind
No,
of
I
figured
remember
you
that
might know
character.
who Kate Lockley is.
Yeah, she was technically. I think she was supposed to be like almost like the new Buffy. Like in the first couple of seasons, she was like they were buddy buddy, like there was supposed to be a romance spark between them. But
Oh, maybe I do remember
they,
her.
I somewhere around like season 2 or 3, they just stopped having her in there for some reason. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe
Maybe because
she
we
wasn't.
got Charisma Carpenter.
Well, she was there from the beginning, but yeah, I
Oh,
guess
that's
they
right.
decided.
Yeah.
I guess they decided they liked her more, and so yeah, they just played her up and you know forgot about the
She was supposed to
cops.
be the original Buffy, and I think she could have pulled it off.
Probably could have pulled it
She's
off,
got
but I
way more comedy chops than she's been given credit for.
oh 100%, yeah. But the thing is that I liked her um
Can't even remember her name.
I know it.
She was the mean girl of the series.
Yes, she was.
I mean, she was no Anya.
That's gonna bug me because I should know her name. I
I
mean, she is
know, I know
Charisma
how much of it.
Carpenter.
Yeah.
She is Charisma Carpenter. She has earned her own identification for sure. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's gonna bug me
When you have a
now.
name like Charisma,
It is,
that's the
yeah. I
one that
mean,
stands out.
of course, yes. And yeah,
Sorry, I
and she's
barely
doing.
know any of Denzel Washington's characters' names. It's always Denzel.
That's a fair point. Yeah,
Look,
I'm the
it's
same way
Denzel
with.
angry. It's Denzel sad.
Mm, I'm the same way with Bruce Campbell. All of Bruce Campbell's roles are just Bruce Campbell.
No,
Even
no,
no,
no.
even Axe or even Ash to me, he is. Uh, no, but there is also Sam Axe. Sometimes he's Sam Axe, but even them, he's mostly Bruce Campbell.
I'm sorry. I just finally finished. Let's finish this up and then we'll go
Okay,
into some Sam Raimi talk in the after hour.
okay. I believe that was the last bit of trivia there.
Well, what are your final thoughts on Deconstructing Harry? This was the
Well,
one you
I
brought
think
in.
yeah, well, but also I think it is, you brought in Rundown and asked me my final thoughts first. So we're going to go to you first. What are your final thoughts on Deconstructing
If you ever want to know a little bit more about Woody Allen, this is the not documentary about Woody Allen.
Harry?
If you are a Woody Allen fan, must see. If you are a regular film buff, there is nothing in this that qualifies it as a must see. There's nothing game changing. There's nothing spectacular. It is just a wild ride of Woody Allen just telling on himself and having no shame.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I enjoyed it. I had fun. It was wild to see so many A-listers of the 90s all just coalesced into one film.
Yeah.
I
All right.
overall enjoy. I recommend it. Not going to say it's a must see.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I do actually say it's a must see.
For what
And
reason?
while you're not wrong in everything that you said there, it's not, culturally relevant on its own. I think it's important in the terms of, the mission that I've stated for my role in the show of growing media literacy. This is a movie about media literacy and about artists hiding their own truth in their works and stuff like that. And this, I think, is a good illustration of that, of how there's the face value, there's the truth they don't even realize they're telling. I think there's a lot of value in that. And yeah, that's why I say in those terms, from a storytelling media consumption perspective, I think it is a must see because it gives a perspective on that. But that's my take. So
I will have to. I'll think about that one kind of throughout the week, because if it is the best example of it, then I would say it's a must see. But I got to take some time, and I really got to think about that and think about the films that were also in this vein, such as 8.5.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Okay.
Because I think I would put 8.5 as a must see much more over Deconstructing Harry.
I would agree, even though I have not yet seen 8.5 for some fucking reason.
It is one of those.
I should just go and, as soon as we're done here, I should just go and watch it. I fucking have it for a reason,
I'm still hesitant on agreeing with you that you should take it out of the packaging. Based off of what you have described, it seems like you have something that a collector is going to want in the future.
Yeah, I don't know though, man. See, that's the thing is, like, I am with DVDs and Blu-rays like you are with your house. I didn't buy this for the intention of selling it someday.
Yeah, no, I bought this house. I'm gonna die here. That's my whole point. Like, I'm not flipping this. I'm not, no, like this, every ding and everything is gonna be a memory of mine 30 years down the road.
Exactly.
Like,
yes.
No,
if I hadn't lost my VHS collection in the Storage Wars, then it definitely would have been held on to be passed down to my children when I die, for certain. Like, that's why I buy movies, is to.
That just makes me wonder if my copy of The Mask even is playable.
Yeah.
I wore that thing out, man. I'm telling you.
There you go. Yeah. All right.
Well,
do we have anything else, or should we just take another 5 and
I think I'm ready to jump in for the after hour. I mean,
oh, you want to just jump right into it?
No. I'm gonna take a few minutes. Grab something to drink and eat, because about an hour into the show, I'm like, man, that sandwich I had earlier was not enough.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Man, so give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna grab something real quick, and then we'll be back for the after hour. But before that, I want to thank you guys for jumping in with us for tonight's show. We'll be back next week, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And from now until then, just stay safe and stay sane. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you for tolerating my rambling. Good night.
So you have a sign-off now.
For this one, I rambled a lot on through this. I felt it behooved me to, for anyone who stuck through the entire one, me going on tangents and rambling and stuttering through this, they deserve my gratitude. And so I took this moment to thank everyone for staying with me.
So many times during tonight's episode that I just sat there and I was like, I should probably look and see what my face looks like right now. Oh, good. Okay, it's stoic. No, I do feel that. All right.
All right.
All right, we'll see you guys. If you want to join us for the after hour, we'll be back in like 10 minutes. And if not, we'll see you guys next week.
Good night.